Okay, who's first? Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Welcome, everybody. Had a couple clouds go by. It wants to start pushing this way, but it's not looking too bad. So, yeah, let's get her started. Let's see what we come up with tonight. You know what I mean? Hopefully it'll be a good one. As I said, we do have some clouds trying to make it in from the north, but they're moving pretty quick, so hopefully they eventually blow out. We'll try. I've been trying to get a hold of Mark. I don't know what he's even doing, but he is literally the most impossible person to get a hold of. So I don't know, and most likely he'll end up messaging me back like right in the middle of the stream, or try calling, say you have a nice Skype audio thing come through. We'll see. I'll keep trying to get a hold of him. We'll get her done. I didn't abandon you, by the way. I know it's kind of boring sitting with the dark. I want to make sure the Skype works, so I have both Chris and Mark. I want to make sure that both of them are good. But once again, with the Skype update, I don't know which channel everything's going to come out of because Skype just updated. So I want to make sure of that before I bring everybody in live. So just bear with it, or listen to whatever you want, or have fun with it. We'll be on either way very shortly. Now I am on this. So, Mark, say something. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna have to designate this to. Oh, I love Skype. I love how it updates all the time. Let me do this into my headphones. Speaker 5. Same time. Microphone. Nope. Come on. Speakers. Why? Just give me what I want. Now I
there
want
we go.
this. There we go. Okay.
Are you gonna share your screen with us so we can see live?
I don't. Let me see what I'm pushing first.
Okay.
And Chris, say something.
Beep
Yeah.
boop blork.
All right.
Beep
I got
boop
you.
blork. Yep.
Hey, as long as you didn't say pee pee poo poo.
Yeah, pee pee poo.
No.
That's mine. You can't steal that.
PG, whatever. I don't know.
All right, and people in the chat, you can let us know how we are, if Chris or Mark, because they're on the same channel, if they need to come up, if I need to go down, just let me know. You know how this is done. We do
Y'all
it all
gonna
the
go
time.
down, Keith.
Yeah. It seems like, there we go. Boom, boom, boom. Anyway, with me is Mark D'Antonio, and, of course, Chris from Take Back Space.
What up, everybody?
And we are chilling tonight, and I wanted to have this conversation because of Chris being, I wouldn't say part of the electric universe theory, but he knows a lot about it that I do not. And as I said, I told him in his stream earlier that I'm not a scholar by any means when it comes to the electric universe theory. I won't even pretend to be. But then on the other side, we have Mark with the science. So we have. Why am I hearing myself?
Sorry, is it me? I'll mute.
No, it's me. It's coming through the computer. Okay. I'm sorry. And Mark, so we have the electric universe theory, and then we have Mark's science theory, and then we're going to see if we can come to a similar thing to make each other understand one another. That's the whole point of this, to understand both sides, and I think it'll be a good chat. I mean, why not? Right?
Happy to.
Yeah. Let's do it. So, anyway, Mark, how are you doing?
I'm fine, man. How's it going?
Well, you haven't been on in 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. It's been about 2 months.
Yeah.
2 lunar cycles.
Yeah. That's crazy. People have been asking me, where's Mark at? I'm like, well, he'll get here eventually.
Yeah, well, I've been going all over the place, but I'm back here until February.
Well, that's nice. Good to chill at home for a little bit. Then you're
You
off to Arizona, right?
Yeah, I got to tell you something. I just got back from Arizona. I got to tell you something.
What's that?
When I went to Arizona, I was supposed to go do an Ancient Aliens show, the show Ancient Aliens in LA while I was there.
Right.
So we went back and forth. We started going through everything. And then finally it got too late, so I came back here to Connecticut. Then we continued talking, and they said, okay, we're going to have you on Ancient Aliens on December 1st. I went, okay, cool. So on the night before I was supposed to fly out to LA, I get a call from the producer saying, we decided that we're not going to go forward with this because you're too scientific.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Seems
and I
said, well, they wanted me to look at these Chilean UFO videos and agree that they were anomalous. And I said, well, they're anomalous, but we have to be fair, we have to point out what they could be, right? Isn't that what you always do? You always have to point out what they might very well be.
That's the hard part, too.
And
even Chris knows this, that we've talked about this before, Mark. This channel, we could be over millions of subs by now if we wanted to be. If we wanted to call every little thing passing the moon a UFO, we could be the next,
Bruce.
We could be the next, just calling everything, that. But the sad part is we do this because we want to find the scientific evidence for something that it can't, we have to rule out everything that it can be. And that's the hard part. And people don't want to hear, well, that can be that or that can be that. But you have to do it. If you don't, then, every little bird that flies by is going to be a UFO. Which sucks. I get it, people. I know it sucks. We have to be the bad guys. But, that's the downside.
But you know what? I can tell you right now, the people that were analyzing this footage of these Chilean videos, one was a military helicopter. It captured this object in the sky, and it left a plume behind it and that was visible in the infrared. And as it flew away, you could see some details of it. It actually had 2 hot spots on it, side by side. And I analyzed that, and I thought, well, it's not flying at any speed that would be different than a commercial airliner. It's not doing any turns other than the type of turns that a commercial airliner might make. In fact, it's not doing any turns. It's just going straight. But the plume of infrared, now that was cool, because the infrared systems on these helicopters, at least this one, can't see hot gas. It sees hot stuff, hot things.
Right.
So it can see engine nozzles. It can't see the exhaust coming out of the engine nozzle, for instance. That's a different type of infrared you would need for that. Well, I saw this and I thought, wow, I see some stuff. That's pretty cool. Then I thought, well, wait a minute. That could be a fuel dump. Or it could be the plane flying through a cloud and temporarily heating the water molecules in the cloud with its exhaust. It would be visible at that point. So I told him that and said, look, I mean, it's anomalous. It's strange. But it could also be explainable by this way. Yeah. And they just didn't want to hear that.
No, they are an entertainment company after all. But
yeah, no, it's okay. Well, I wouldn't.
Well,
look, they were gonna pay me quite a lot to actually go do it. And I said, well, I need the money, but I'm not going to compromise my principles. I just won't.
Yeah.
So I didn't, and I didn't do it. But now they want to do.
Now you're back hanging with P&K. You're back to where you started.
Oh no! You made me. You were the reason that I'm streaming at all.
Yeah.
You and Paul. Yeah. It's your fault.
And Chris, my man. I finally get to talk. Believe it or not, people, this is the first time I've actually gotten to talk to Chris in person. Well, not in person, but personally. So this is great. We started streaming right around the same time, or both. I think our channel started right around the same time, doing pretty much the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. So welcome, my friend.
Thank you. And what's up, Mark? Nice to finally meet you. I've heard a lot. You're always mentioned in my channel, and I always say that at some point I'll get on P&K and talk to both of y'all. So I'm here tonight because I actually have something to share.
Yes.
Very cool.
And I'm glad you are here because we got to talking on your channel earlier. If you didn't know, Chris has a channel, Take Back Space. Definitely check it out if somebody wants to post a link in the chat. I find it fascinating because of this electric universe theory. Now, once again, we have to go through. I can't call you. Can I call you an electric universe believer?
No, it's really just
okay.
I'm a backyard astronomer who's a curious mind who has a business, and I do my stuff. Like I don't like celebrity, and I don't like YouTube and social media and stuff like that. But I do like science a lot. And I do like the moon and space a lot, right? And I spent my life kind of being like, man, are there UFOs? Or like, what's going on with quantum mechanics? What's happening with string theory? I was like always at the forefront of that, thinking about it, being like, what's going on? Mars missions were in the future for me. I'm like almost 40, I'm like, that was a big deal. Things have come and gone, and it seems very stagnated. I mean, if I'm perfectly honest, it may seem like, oh, I'm young and I have stars in my eyes, but I'm also like, yeah, I'm almost 40, man. And like, I was promised a lot, and I don't think I'm entitled to it. I'm just like, I even like, I very hesitate to use things like we were sold a bill of goods or like somebody did this to us. No, there's what I've realized, and this is a bit controversial, I'm sure, but take me to task on it. But I think if you regard government as business and you regard science agencies, space agencies as arms of those businesses, you realize like, there's not going to be this thing called disclosure for people. There's never going to be a revelation of flat Earth. There's no interest in it. Why would any business ever engage in it? What they do love, however, is ancient aliens. And what they do love is like Marvel movies that reinterpret like mythology and throw everything in the kitchen sink into like Thor and then make people not, and then Tesla, who calls his company Tesla now, like you search Tesla, it's cars, and Elon Musk, and not like this thinker who 120 years ago was like, man, science is really stagnating. I think shit's electrical. Yeah. like guys, go along with me. Check out this tower I'm building. Like in the 40s, they basically sidetracked, like, people talk about.
I mean, do you think like things have been stolen by, say, entertainment value?
It's both, right? It's like, and I also think that like, I'm also a Zen person who knows that destructive forces are necessary, right? So I don't think all this is evil. Like, I want to make very clear, I don't think the government is hiding things. I don't think any of that shit. I really actually think that it's necessary to drive this universe forward. So the electric universe is really a holistic thinking. It's more about understanding yourself in the cosmos. It's what Big Bang cosmology espouses, but actually completely goes the other way and makes people feel as disempowered and as disconnected as ever before. This is the disparity in science. This is why people love flat Earth and ufology, is because they literally need something. It's salvationism I've coined. Because for me, it's like the church. It's like people just want somebody to come rescue them. The Rapunzel thing. However,
I was going to make that connection too with the religion. It might be
it's
this
fine.
age's religion. Yeah.
The other thing is, I know I sound very judgy, but it's fine. Like, this is okay that this exists. But at the same time, science should really have some experimental stuff behind it. And so where I come from on Electric Universe is I've just whittled down all these different theories. I've taken Ken Wheeler from Angry Photographer, listened to Eric Dollard. I looked up every goddamn corner, crevice of YouTube library, book I could find, uncle I could call, in this reality as a smart enough person to grasp topics, right? Enough to talk about it at some degree of articulation. And I got to this place where, like, Velikovsky, who wrote this book, Worlds in Collision, Earth in Upheaval, in 1947, contemporary of Einstein wrote letters to him, basically, challenged the status quo, Sagan, Hoyle, and he was like, look, guys, Venus looks like this thing that is like, it looks like a comet. It seems like it's going to be a comet when you send Pioneer there. This is the science behind it. Or this is he was a natural philosopher too. It wasn't like he had all the math figured out. But he said, hey, like, what if the universe is actually not stagnant and not 12 billion or 13.78 billion years old? Maybe something crazy happened 5,000 years ago where a comet passed by Earth, electrically activated it, and we had, all the great floods, all the diluvian stuff, everything that we deem as mythology or biblical, all can be attributed to actual celestial events inducted by electrical phenomenon. And ultimately, it comes around to all geology, all weather patterns. We even say it, air current is electric, water currents. This is electrical flow. And then it goes further, but that's really the premise of where I come from. So I'm not a believer, and it's not really a theory, because we have EKGs, we're on an electrical grid. Like, the theory only comes from pop mainstream scientists who, like, come on TV and say, no, look at the little birdie. But really, NASA sent Voyager out with plasma laboratories and a magnetometer. They're definitely aware of this technology, and quantum mechanics basically made graphics of how it looks. So we know exactly what the universe looks like. Why is there cold dark matter and spooky action? I mean, what is this spooky language, like George Carlin? Language.
The spooky lounges. We'll let Mark answer the spooky language. So, Mark, what do you think about everything Chris has said so far?
Well, I mean, I understand the theories. I just don't subscribe to all of it. Because there is evidence. For instance, the spooky action at a distance is something measurable. We can see it. We can determine it. Quantum entanglement is a real thing that we can measure. The basis of quantum entanglement, for instance, is, and that spooky action at a distance, okay, is what that is if you have a electron, say, of a substance in laboratory A, and you have a same piece of that material in laboratory B, and you measure the electron's spin in laboratory A. Okay, it's a characteristic of an electron. It spins either up or down. If it's up, you know that laboratory B's electron spin is down. Okay, that's a very simplified example, okay? And it is, in fact, scientifically repeatable. So what it implies is that the electrons, although separated, are still somehow in communication, so that one knows that if A is up, I got to be down. If I am up, A has got to be down. So it's a system that we're just learning about, and I don't have any doubt that it's based on a better understanding of the electrical nature of the universe. I know why there's magnetometers on Voyager. I know why, because every single planet, every single body in the solar system of any size may very well have at least a partial magnetic field. Mars doesn't have much of one. Venus doesn't have much of one. Mercury doesn't have much of one. Earth has a big one. Jupiter has a massive one. Okay, so the magnetometers are used to measure those magnetic fields. And where do magnetic fields come from? Well, they come from electrical charges that are moving around in the core of the planet, basically. All right, that's what causes magnetic fields, is when these electric charges are tooling around in the core. In our planet, it's the outer core moving against the inner core. The inner core is solid here, and the outer core is molten. And as that outer core moves around the inner core, it generates electricity. Sort of like your giant feet standing on rubbing on carpet. Okay,
yeah, but I don't know if that doesn't seem to be what actually happens though physically.
Actually, they measure the electric fields that are.
The fields do, but like the electricity is coming from outside, from the auroras. That's what the auroras on all the planets are.
The auroras are generated by the solar wind, yes. The solar wind comes in, and the magnetic field of the Earth, generated by the currents in the core, actually cause the high-energy particles to get trapped in the magnetic field. That's what we call the Van Allen radiation belts. The radiation belts because they have trapped the sun's high-energy particles streaming through space. The magnetic field has trapped these particles. And
how do they trap the particles?
Well, the particles are charged particles. The magnetic field, can trap charged particles, just like they do at black holes, And black holes actually also do the same thing, but just on a huge scale. At the event horizon of a black hole, the magnetic fields are extremely high, and sometimes some neutron stars have immensely high magnetic fields too. We call those magnetars, and the magnetic fields are so high that they could rip planets apart. See,
with all due respect, we're talking about the electric universe, Mark, and I hear what you're talking about, but I'm really baked, and I don't want to talk about like standard cosmology. Like if we want to talk about some theory, let's talk about it. I don't know if all these things are really what I'm talking about. I really feel like there's a theory underlying all these principles, and there's one logical mechanism for this stuff. So I hear you about neutron stars. I hear you about black holes.
If you don't want to talk about science, I can go do other things tonight. I mean, I'm fine. I don't have to be here. I mean, I'm just...
No, but I want to be answered. I don't want to go on a show and do this. This is not my style of like working. I'd love to work towards a thought, and you keep taking me further and further away from what I was initially here to talk about. So talk
about. Let's see. You were talking about craters, right? Earlier, Chris. You were talking about the shape of the craters, and you believe...
No, I'm just talking about Earth geology at the core. You're telling me that magnetic fields are caused by electric charges. Hell yeah, let's talk about that. I believe a lot of what you're talking about is true. All of it's all true. I don't disagree with any of it. I just don't want to be retold all these things. I'd love to talk about something that is generative, right? I'm coming at this with all this knowledge. I've watched these documentaries. I understand the popular approach to these topics. What I'd like to discuss is one thing at a time, if that's okay with both of you. Just like one topic at a time. So if we're talking about solar wind, let's talk about solar wind as a thing, as opposed to like solar wind, nebulas, black hole. Then it gets very vague and very far away from what the original string was.
But that's kind of explaining how it gets trapped, is it not?
But that's is that what we're talking about, though?
Well, that's what you asked. You asked if it was how they got trapped.
Look,
but before that, I mean, I was talking about how I got into Electric Universe and what the paradigm, this holistic paradigm of understanding the nature of reality. And where we got to was basically telling me how black holes trap matter. I mean, I get it, but like, is that
Well, it was the extreme for what we were talking about, but because
this is all fun, guys. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just like having some fun here tonight. It's Friday night, so we're just debating. So all due respect.
I love debates.
Okay, well, here's what,
No, I get what you're saying, and I get it.
if you want to talk about craters, then we can talk about craters. But I'm not going to say that they're electromagnetically created. I'm going to say they're impact generated.
Yeah, so let's look at the geometry, right? It's really this is why I finally got on tonight, because it's right on the screen right now. There's Sinus Iridum to the right. Right. Okay, Sinus Iridum, Bay of Rainbows, has the shape to it, right? You can see the 120-degree angle on the right side. There's a straight wall and then a very defined corner. And then it goes up and there's another corner, 120 degrees, and it tries to form a hexagon. The reason it's trying to form a hexagon is because the reality has a geometry of a torus and a hyperboloid. At the center of this, the Nassim Haramein flower of life, the Merkaba, all this stuff is the same shape. It's just the apple core, and it emanates from the center, right? When it boils, it's bubbled over. So essentially these bubbles meet bubbles, and they create hexagons and pentagons. This is why bees do it. This is why the conjugate nature of reality looks like hexagons. And Sinus Iridum, which is a 300 kilometer across bay on the moon, looks just like the top half of a hexagonal molecular model, or a honeycomb, or our eyes.
But what is causing that, in your opinion?
Because the idea of electric universe holistically is that we're in like a soup, like the ether is electric consciousness, right? It's not really matter, and it's not really not matter. It's potential energy, inertial energy, right? It's not even manifest yet. And then some sort of reverberation akin to cymatics, akin to sound, the word of God, the hand of God, the first pulsation, the perturbation, emanates through the ether along conjugate geometry, which is toroidal, basically a donut with an hourglass in the middle, along branches that look like our brain, that look like the local supercluster, that look like filaments, that look like your hand, that look like dendritic ridges, Lichtenberg figures. I try and not breathe into the mic, excuse me.
We all have it.
But you know what I'm saying? Like dendritic ridges right next to Sinus Iridum. Sinus Iridum. Those little dendritic ridges, those are like land. They call them landslides, right? Or they call them lava tubes. Why, where I'm getting at is, why can't we just talk about this stuff and be like, what is a lava tube? Why do they extend? Where's the collapsed roof? Where's the volcanic evidence? It's really more of an attitude. And I know I'm really, Mark, no disrespect. I know I sound really obnoxious sometimes when I just like get direct with things, but to be fair, like I've been, I'm at this place where I really feel passionately about this concept, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on why craters are hexagonal. We can go to Copernicus and take a look at the same thing.
Well, I actually, Sinus Iridum doesn't look like a hexagon to me. I think that if we look at the screen right now, we're seeing craters that are circular generally. And that has to do, the reason they look like that is because of the way the energy of impact is. Same reason that when you skip a stone across the water, every single place it skips leaves perfectly circular ripples that move out from that location, no matter how shallow the impact against the water. It's the way energy is distributed. And we know that the impact craters are created by meteorites because we've got so many of them here with the remnants stuck in the bottom of the crater. The Canyon Diablo, which of course became the Behringer meteorite. I had a 450-pound chunk of that at my school, and I got a piece of another iron meteorite sitting up here on my shelf. It's like, these are all remnants from impacts and well-known craters. And the morphology of the craters depends on the impact speed, the size of the impactor. And for the people that are listening, the flat bottom craters generally are filled in with material from either around the outside or from lava that welled up once the impact had occurred. the craters.
Mark, didn't we talk one time about hexagons in space and whatnot? And wasn't there? Man, I'm trying to remember. And maybe you can help me out, just Chris. Yeah, Saturn at the poles had this hexagon pattern. What was actually causing that? Was that? I mean, I'm sure it was studied
It's
somewhere.
still there.
I don't know. Yeah,
it's still there. It's not going away. I mean, it's a long-term effect that. I mean, they try to explain it, and this is the thing that they can't explain. They cannot explain exactly what's causing it. Their best guess, and it's only a guess, and I'm okay with that because we don't know, is that it's a weather resonance, a resonant weather system, in the same way that the giant red spot on Jupiter was a resonant weather system for the longest time. It's fading, right? So will it change? Sure, it might change. It may not. It doesn't have to. But yes, hexagons do occur in nature as well, and that's not the argument. What causes them could very well be related to electromagnetism, and I'm not disputing that either. I just don't think that there is enough science on that. And I'm not against the electric universe. I'm just against, well, not against, but I guess not in favor of certain tenets of the electric universe, which try to say that craters are not impacts.
Well, but we're looking at it right here on screen. It's really, this is why I kind of came on, right? Because I don't want to get into a deep debate or change anybody's mind, but I feel like it's pertinent to the only other lunar stream that shares followers with me to talk about the fact that, like, Mare Crisium right in front of you is or isn't circular. Like, if it's circular to you guys, then like we basically like are at kind of an impasse, because like it's not like, I mean, you take telestration to it and draw the lines and show me that it's circular, because it's clearly hexagonal, because when bubbles meet, they create boundaries. And so boundaries, to me, seem like bubbling and boiling. Anyway, the thing is, the lunar origin videos already show that it's bubbling and boiling. It doesn't say that these features are actually created specifically by like an impact hitting the surface and creating these circles. It actually says that the heavy bombardment hit the moon so much that the whole surface was boiling, and then it cooled and then got hit by smaller meteors. And the smaller meteor storm is supposed to have caused Aristarchus, which unfortunately is not visible tonight, but is basically a diamond. And the shape of Archimedes right here is the shape of a comet with Lichtenberg figures coming out of it. And I don't know. I mean, this is really what it is. It's like, I'm not trying to make up anything. There is no need to get some other like scientist. You're a person with a brain, right? Like, you're a smart dude. You sound very intelligent. So I'm pleading with you in a way, because like, either I'm going mad and I'm seeing things, or Copernicus is hexagonal because it's met boundary walls, and that's what spheres do. Spheres hit walls like dense points, and they start to create like the strongest form that they can. It's bubble mechanics. There are tons of public documentaries about it. And secondarily, the David LaPointe primer field mechanics, where you have tiny little magnets that create honeycomb structures, but they basically merge together, but they also maintain their awareness of their surroundings. All of those are interlocked honeycomb patterns. If you look at bee documentaries, honeycomb patterns. No one's saying that this doesn't exist. They're saying it does exist. And so why wouldn't there be an option to reopen impact theory? And further, there's actually lab stuff going on. So there's lab discharge that creates these shapes. And there are 10 videos or so where people are throwing like cake powder into a pan and using a lead ball to create impact strikes and telling me that that's science. So show me the money, as Tom Cruise once said, but like, I don't see where impact in the laboratory is creating these carved bullseye craters, hexagonal craters with craters on the rims. Like, I can go into detail. I'd love to go into detail. I don't mean to sound like somebody who's like cultishly fanatical about a science tangent. I'm open to anything, because I have nothing to win here. Like, I just want to talk about lunar craters in a way that's not like, oh, been there, done that. We already figured this out. It's all done. I'm just tired of that type of science.
Well, in all honesty, I'm looking at the craters now. Okay, and in certain ways, if I look at the base of the crater, meaning the inside base, I can kind of see a hexagonal pattern somewhat. But as I'm looking at the rims of all these craters, it does take on a circular shape. So I'm not sure whether, and this is just me. It's not,
You know
I'm not
how
speaking for
we
anybody
see
else.
those little word games? They're missing letters, and our brains fill in the gaps of the words, and we can
Correct.
still read those little games.
Mhm.
I believe that because of indoctrination of the media, we've been repeating it to each other so often that aren't the perfectly circular craters on the moon? Aren't there perfectly? And this happens with many things, tropes, memes, things we joke around from movies. We don't even know where we got them sometimes. And I feel like the real obvious thing is, look, I understand that the brain fills in this kind of elliptical circular shape.
Yeah, the
But I
pareidolia
work,
thing.
yeah, but ultimately at the very, very core of it, gentlemen, to not be like here super pedantic about it, but if you do graphics for a living or 3D for a living, circles are basically, just a series of straight sides. You just add a whole bunch of points to the ellipse and you fill in the smoothness of a circle. But if you reduce the number of vertices, that reduces to a triangle ultimately, and then a square and a pentagon and a hexagon. So what I'm saying is not out of line from mathematics and logic, right? Like hexagonal craters, though, might imply that the moon is much younger, which makes it's a really big paradigm shifter. And to think that the moon is basically settled science makes no sense to me in this world.
I don't believe it's younger. And I mean, when you look at the sample return that came back, we've got laboratories here on Earth that have literally hundreds of pounds of moon rocks.
Yep.
And they've aged these, and they've done the radioactive decay aging, not carbon-12, obviously, and they've found that these are very old rocks, and so many billions of years, So I
fair
think
to talk about it. Can we talk about radioactive decay depending on electric charge density and nitrogen in the atmosphere and potential size of Earth? No, because look, if you look on YouTube and you say question radioactive decay of plutonium or potassium dating, you get right into evangelism and conspiracy land. But the truth of the matter is, beyond 50,000 years, no scientist will stick to their numbers. It's all extrapolation from our Earth-centric, physics-centric point of view. If physics alters slightly nitrogen or charge or size of Earth or different gravity, all of a sudden these numbers that are extrapolated to a billion years plus or minus a billion become completely questionable. It is something that can be talked about. And I understand that it might be like losing your mind about what I'm saying right now, but for real, it is something we should be talking about. Why?
I don't get the size of Earth thing.
Well, because this is a difficult conversation about electric universe because it borders on things that people don't want to reopen. Things like how dinosaurs could exist, with blood pumping up 50, whatever, these giant brontosauri. Why we have a size limitation right now on Earth, Pangea, super Pangea, the size of Earth, like where did we get our oceans from? There's a large swath of questions there that I don't want to sound like, ooh, I'm going to go crazy here if I don't talk about it. But those are the types of things we don't take into account when it comes to measuring the size of the universe right now, and two, history. We're very satisfied with a small group of people saying this is how it is, this is how old the Earth is, and that's it, and nobody dares question it. And I'm saying there is reason to question it. There's physics to question it.
That's fine. See, I don't have any problem with that because we don't even know the age of the universe. I mean, the Hubble constant isn't, and so that led to the supposition of dark energy. And if the Hubble constant isn't constant, then that means that the universe could be younger than we thought by possibly up to 1 billion years. And so not 13.8, but maybe 12.6 or so was the number I heard. But jury's out on that, and the jury being, people that are studying these things, cosmologists, But I think that science has had a more open mind these days than it has had in the past. There are plenty of people that are rigid in their thinking. There are plenty of people that give science a bad name. But to be a science person, you have to be open-minded to begin with. You have to expect an answer, or be willing to settle for an answer or accept an answer that isn't yours.
Yeah.
And and that's okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
And that's the main reason I wanted to have Chris on. And as I said, I didn't want to really make this a debate. I just wanted, because I knew Chris knew a lot about this electric universe, and I was interested to hearing that side of it. You know what I mean? I'm not really interested in who's right, who's wrong. I'm interested in hearing another side of the story. And the electric universe is the one that I've struggled to understand some of the concepts of. A lot of it, I'm still crazy brained. Even from that little bit that I watched earlier with you, Chris, I'm looking at, I was looking at it like, okay, this is going to take a lot longer than I thought.
You got Copernicus up. Look at the left side. You're telling me that's not like a straighter edge with two angles at the top and bottom?
No, I see exactly what you're talking about. All right. But
I wish my cursor would show on screen so I can point it out to people. Let me see here. Go ahead, keep talking, Mark. I'll try to figure it out.
My thought was, when Copernicus was created, that entire area of the moon was molten. And of course the energy of impact, the energy of motion converted to energy of heat. I'm talking to everybody, Chris. I'm not just talking to you. So that's why I explain things.
No, I hear you. I'm listening. Sorry.
So with the energy of motion of impact being converted to heat, now we have a liquid there, and it acts temporarily as a liquid. And so upon impact, when it strikes and it does get hot and there is molten rock everywhere, well then perhaps the hexagonal pattern is due to that time where it's then frozen in time as it cools. So I'm not saying that that's not possible. I'm not saying that's not due to the very reasons you're talking about. But I'm saying from the very beginning, I am stuck on this one, and I don't think I'm going to let it go easily, because we see evidence of the impact here. Craters are impact generated, in my view. And that's not old dogma. Okay, that's actually scientifically validated. And not by going to the moon, not by looking at pictures of the moon, not by looking at information from probes, but by studying what happened here, and looking at all the impacts. If you get Google Earth and you look up crater impact overlay, you can pick up and look at hundreds of impacts here on the Earth that have been dated, that have been analyzed, that have been studied, and many times the meteor that made them survived some of the reentry, and they've recovered it from the inside of the crater. And it's definitely something created off-world. You can clearly see that it's not a chunk of iron, say, or Klondike from the Earth. Okay, they're clearly created elsewhere.
Can I jump in just politely? Just here, let's talk about this. This is a very crucial point that never gets talked about to an end, right? So this is what's going on in the electric within the cosmology, right? So it's not just moon craters. It's Ceres. It's Comet 67P. It's Earth. The idea is that there's electrical interaction like a finger to a doorknob, like a static charge electricity, like this thing called, basically electric arcing in the laboratory is done constantly, electric discharge machining. So the theory is not like this far-fetched thing that can't happen. The only issue here really is the bigger thing is that Einstein removed sort of this concept of the ether. We kind of have this pop science idea that space is not really electric. Even in the way we define magnetic fields and electric fields, we talk about it in the negative in a way. Like, not to nitpick your language, but there is this kind of thing. It only has a thing. It's just this. These things are ways to qualify information, right? Instead of saying, wow, it does have a magnetic field. Yes, it's small, but it does have one. That kind of qualifying language that actually makes people consider the value of a magnetic field. So people, excuse me, let me just breathe through this. I don't know why I have a habit of not breathing. But I'm trying to get all the thoughts out, like just the string of it. So the point is, the stuff on Earth, that stuff that seems unworldly. One seems to fall under the paradigm of like this purple prose, this kind of this grandeur of, you know, ufology terminology of like making people feel like it's otherworldly, it's undefined, it's anomalous, it's dark, right? It's this kind of way of qualifying that finding. But in fact, what is shown at these meteorite sites, and similarly on Mars and the Moon, these Martian blueberries, this glass, Libyan glass that's used by different conspiracies to prove other things, but it's essentially transmutation of elements. And it's basically like petrification and fossilization that can definitely happen and has happened on Earth with high electric discharge blasts. People saw like there's a whole thing about like fossilization and
I'm just trying. Can I jump? I just want to try to understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So you're saying like say a comet passes or something, and you get an arc between that object and the Earth or the Moon. Yep. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you look up history, 1800s, we had like 10, 20 comets in the sky. You're getting real close. Like
okay,
real
I just wanted to clarify that. That
sure,
way I knew what you were talking about.
Go ahead, please. Yeah, please ask me something. I don't mean to hog it.
Well, that's the point of all this. As I said, once again, I'm not here to debate who's right, who's wrong. You know, whether science is right, whether electric universe is right. I'm using this as a learning experience. I know a lot of the science side. I don't know much about the electric universe. I did find it fascinating when I looked into it. But then
for me, it's an uplifting science. It's something in a way ultimately sounds evangelical, right? Because like for me, yes, I sound passionate and hungry, right? Like I want to do this.
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, it's not. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sure.
Yeah, no. I feel passionate. I understand what it is to be ambitious, and I know how to like hold myself in stature. But it's also like the science is so interesting to me. Like if I do feel the chokehold of the dogma of popular science, and it might not be nefarious. It might just be because that's how systems, that sluggish big system corporate entity, they can't operate nimbly and lightly, and they can't take on new theories quickly.
Is
right?
it fair
Maybe
to say that you're pretty much like sick of the status quo, pretty much? Like the same answers over and over again, you know.
It's so funny that I love Alan Watts and I love Nikola Tesla, and if you read their writings today, it sounds like us, or it sounds like me, and certain, not really many other people, but a few people who I talk to who agree with me. Kind of, I don't need yes people, but I mean my little group who agree with me. We sound like Tesla, and not like in terms of intelligence, but he was like, man, this fucking politicians like fucking my whole thing up with science. I really just want to do the science, and they want to make me make money from it.
Yeah.
And I think we went down a route maybe like 60, 80 years ago with the rise of media, where like the night sky with Sir Patrick Moore and Carl Sagan, even though like I've learned to not really like him as much as I used to, at least we're talking to people like they were adults. I mean, if you really look at some of the stuff now, this 2-minute science and these edits and this really hard, like, and then there's narcissism from, you know.
Right, but isn't that a product of our generation where everything's galloped in these, you know, 1-minute short videos or, you know, quick talks? I mean, look at TED Talks. They take a very complicated subject and condense it down into what, 10 or 12 minutes?
That's the YouTube generation, though.
Exactly. It's the attention span.
Yeah. I argue for the speakeasy, though. I actually, this is why I feel like holistically, I don't, like Keith said, I don't tout my channel as a UFO channel or any type of theory channel. I try and make it fun for people. It's a little speakeasy, right? It's not about, you know, evangelizing. It's about creating a space that's not this other shit that I don't want to experience. So ultimately, it's a selfish purpose and also like when I started scoping, I was like, man, I got to share this with people. It's not even fair, right? Like, you know, that feeling, like when you get that, it's like a psychedelic experience. You're like, fuck, man, I can't keep this to myself. Holy shit. But then when I saw EU, I was like, wait, is the universe much younger? Is the Bible and all these like pictures that we use for ancient aliens, like no disrespect.
Did you telescoping actually start making you question a lot of this stuff and kind of go on your own information discovery?
I'll be honest, like from, you know, right after 9/11, I was like disenfranchised, like everybody felt, like really disempowered. But I felt wrong. Like I felt the world like split there. Some people believed it, some people didn't, and that's kind of kicked off early days of the internet and, you know, JFK. And I feel like now that I know now that the YouTube is so prevalent, you hear that people had the same journey that I had, right? They were 9/11 truthers, and then ufology, then they found Ben Davidson, and then they started taking pictures for themselves, and then flat Earth came along. There's a timeline.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, one, I never was into that being part of it, but I just was like, man, I'm hungry for information. Like, what happened to the Mars missions? What did we really garner from it? I started to think like that, and then I became really cynical. And then I was like, no, it's definitely this UFO thing. Stephen Greer and Wilcock, they're out to really save us. I was a salvationist, like a salvation monkey too. I was like, oh, these guys are going to break it open, and Stephen, this guy and that guy. Right. And I was like, and then I hit 5 years, 6 years ago, I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to look at the moon, try and figure out what's going on, like what people are seeing, what's going on here. And it was really not to debunk, but it was more to debunk shit for me.
Right.
Excuse my language. Sorry, I'm a little tipsy, so I'm just talking. But
That's
like,
fine.
it was more of like, I wanted to debunk flat Earth, which I did immediately. I wanted to debunk UFOs, which I couldn't because I started capturing like weird shit all the time. And I still have old videos like 2015 that is like UFO this and UFO that. Turns out later it was the ISS. Turns out later it was the GPS thing. Yeah. And like when, so I've debunked so much shit for me, and hopefully for other people. But, like, I think you kind of got into the thing, Mark, when I had the wave phenomenon thing. Yeah. But man, think about the fucking odds that I filmed the wave 3 times on the moon, once on Jupiter and once on Saturn, or not on, but whatever, when it was happening.
Yeah, you know what I say? I mean, that just means that you had air traffic in your area probably more than other people. Because I saw one for the first time on SkyTour livestream, my stream, when a jet, the moon was almost set, and a jet heading into the distance over the horizon was heading, quote unquote, into the moon. And so it stayed over the surface of the moon for about 4 seconds. And behind it, you could see the disrupted trail of hot air and exhaust, and it left a little streak as it entered the moon. The light coming into the moon and coming off the moon. It was so cool.
And we did one too where we had and this was crazy because the sun or the moon was just about to set one night, and the plane was actually going straight overhead. So literally with the infrared camera, we watched this distortion move completely across the sky, and then eventually ended up at the moon and caused that ripple effect to go right down, like somebody was like tuning in the TV, and I was like, wow, it came from that far away, and actually went in front. I was actually kind of just blown away. But then that's what did it for me with the whole lunar wave thing. I was like, okay, well, now we know. And I didn't really do anything since then. So
my feeling is that if it can be explained satisfactorily in terms that we can demonstrate and repeat, then I would say that we have to at the very least, enter that as a possible cause.
Yeah.
By no means close the book.
No. May I update where I'm at with that? So sure. I think I've had the shows. I've already updated everybody, but I have a playlist, and I'll send it to you. I don't need to send it right now, but it's a playlist of 13 videos. It's got 11 videos of various lunar waves. I'm just going to call them that just because people know it as that. But this phenomenon from various people, including Crow and a whole bunch of other people, not mine. And then at the end of it, I saw 2 videos. One is this guy randomly just put up a 40-second video where he said, I debunked lunar waves. So this is not my theory. This is this guy. And he shows a very slowed down, like maybe 5,000 frames per second explosion from a distance. And it's creating a sonic boom, which is signature is like 2 wave fronts, like moving like that. So there's that. And then 2, the Smarter Everyday video in this playlist that I'll share is like... is Smarter Every Day. They do a bullet test, and they see the wake of the bullet. And there's this odd thing where he doesn't really call attention to it. It's just like kind of the secondary wake. Looks just like this phenomenon. It's the angle. It's the 2 wave fronts. It's very specific. And so my where I've landed is like, yes, it could be an aircraft, but I feel like it has to be a sonic boom craft, like a hypersonic, supersonic, or meteor hitting the magnetosphere. I've kind of, like, to be fair, not to be judgy about the airplane trails, but I, given how many times I've filmed like the 747 and stuff like that, you see a turbulent kind of spiral with those trails. That the lunar wave, if you look at these videos, there's a very defined like wavefront, kind of. I don't know. That's where I'm at. It's fine to disagree on it. But I agree that it could be something like that. But I think it's like military craft, hypersonic stuff.
But I see a commercial jetliner though, so
I don't know. Yeah, that's where I'm not
we
sure.
Even
it's
had
jetliner, but
we even had some. We had a scientist. I was asking Fraser Kane about this, and he said it can even be caused by micrometeorites that aren't even in frame, just a dispersion of the air.
Chris was suggesting that earlier, and he's right.
Yeah.
It could go through the field, and it leaves that intense stream of hot air behind it, and that's what does it.
Yeah. Temperature
basically.
inversion.
Well,
point is the moon's not a hologram.
Yeah.
And it's not. Yeah, and it's not 3,000 miles up either.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I get short with the flat earthers.
I think yeah.
My co-host on Sky Tour Radio, Amanda, wonderful lady. You gotta love her. Before I knew her, she got me to go on a show, and I didn't know it was. I knew it, but intellectually I knew it, but I didn't actually expect that it would blossom into a full-on attack on me by flat earthers at the other end, saying that the Earth is flat, and here's our proof. Well, I had nothing prepared, so they mopped the floor with me, and that's okay. I wasn't prepared. I flew into Los Angeles from Connecticut, got off the plane, went to the hotel, went into a hospitality room, and there I had to go on the radio right away because I'd forgotten about it. So I just started going on the radio. I had Lee Spiegel, Nick Pope, and a bunch of other luminaries sitting with me at the table as I was on the air, and they were like concealing their laughter at the flat earthers, and I was trying to figure out what brought them to this, meaning the people thinking that the Earth is flat. What brought them down this path where they are so convinced it's flat? How much do you have to be invested in a conspiracy?
Can I be the super unpopular opinion here? All right.
No, yeah.
Just for the sake of it. So this is my standpoint on it, and it's fine because you can tell people stuff and they'll get it. Like, yeah, it's not real, but flat earthers are people. And the idea of science, right, is inclusion. And the issue here that we have with the stagnancy of science is bullying. I mean, whatever you think of Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you listen to him, this guy's like pushing people around with his dogma. If you listen to David Wilcock, he's pushing people around with his dogma.
Well, so is Greer. And I don't have.
Greer. Yeah.
I don't have a patience for Greer or Wilcock.
But I'm saying these are the cats that are out there shifting and changing reality. And what I'm saying is that I don't think they have the best intentions for people. And for me...
But see, Greer, Wilcock, and Tyson are all people too.
Sure.
And the reason I started my stream was because of outreach. I'm doing public outreach. And with that in mind, and I've said this a million times, there are no stupid questions. All right. So if someone says to me, is the universe an electric universe? And then that's not a stupid question. It's a question that merits further investigation by the people that ask the question, number one. And number two, by the people that would purport to have the answers. And so I think that's important. But I don't. Whereas there's some elements of the electric universe that may make sense, especially in the early universe, perhaps when it first started, because back then, when the universe was opaque, there was still an awful lot of temperature, awful lot of energy, an awful lot of electrical energy in that early universe. It had to do something. It had to have some meaning, have some effect, and I don't think cosmology adequately deals with it. So perhaps that's where the electric universe should be injected, in cosmology, is right up front, and then see what falls out. But we do know, for instance, that the impacts that have happened on the Earth have craters. They make craters. I was at one a couple of weeks ago. I was actually out in Arizona, and I was at Meteor Crater. Everybody goes to Meteor Crater, but I went on a special tour, and we got to go off the main pass and got to check out other areas of the crater. And I noted its shape. It wasn't a perfectly round crater, it almost looks square. And when I was going to figure out why it looked that way, um, consulting some geologic maps, there's a huge fault that runs underneath the meteor crater. And right at the areas where the fault intersects the crater, there is a slipped set of blocks, and it imparts this shape of squareness to the crater at two ends where the fault line runs through. It's actually a pretty impressive looking thing, and in fact, Behringer, or they call him Behringer, they don't. It's not a soft G. Behringer made his entry into the crater by using this fault line, actually, because that's where the wall had collapsed soonest in the meteor crater. So, so that explained the square shape, because I was intrigued by the shape of the crater. Looking at the moon, I see craters that have, very, very different shapes. I think it's Euchre has a really odd shape to me. I actually 3D printed it because I thought it was so cool. And then, on other planets, Mercury, and Pluto. Pluto's craters are shaped a lot by fluid dynamics too. Unlike the Moon and Mercury. Because Pluto's got a lot of cryovolcanic stuff anyway, nitrogen solids, on the surface and kind of thing. So that changes everything. You can't have mountains beyond a certain height, etc., unless they're made of water, ice. Anyway, so that said, looking at our planet and just looking at the impacts here, I have gone through to look at the shape to see if any of the shapes indicate anything. And I don't mean electric universe or any other thing. I'm just trying to see if the shapes look like something different. And the only one that I see that has that difference, I'm not talking about complex craters versus simple craters. The only one that has that difference is the Behringer meteorite crater, otherwise known as the Canyon Diablo, or now, just meteor crater.
Well, let me ask, besides calling it an impact crater, what, the evidence for it is such that it's geometric. It's such that there's transmutation of elements because there are these types of particular types of otherworldly. If you really look up the geology of it, no, I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying, I've looked up the geology of it. It's not something that's alien. It's something that's just been affected by a certain type of charge. It's morphed together. It's basically smushed together. It's alchemy.
There's shocked grains.
Yeah, okay. Sure, but the blueberries basically exist
on Mars.
In a lot of places. Yeah, but they exist. That's what the goo or whatever they found on the back of the moon. We have blueberries here. I think this. Basically, what I'm saying is this shape that emerges, this torus with the hyperboloid that Ken Wheeler talks about, that Nassim Haramein talks about, that pretty much
are spherules.
What?
The blueberries are spheroid,
But I'm saying they appear literally that there's no explanation for how they got there. They basically are just described.
No, actually that's not true. I mean, the NASA literature from the science experiments results, they detail how these blueberries formed in the presence of water. That's the only way they could exist, which is one of the foundational reasons why, when they found the blueberries, they thought that Mars was actually rich in water at one point. It is hydrodynamics, but it's also. But I'm saying those marbles formed in all different sizes everywhere. There are ones here on Earth that are giant, like 5 feet across. On I forget which island, but there are. I remember those. And
there are basalt columning, like perfect hexagonal integrations that are naturally forming because basalt.
That's right.
Grows along crystal lattices. The thing is, crystal lattice structure is this hexagonal honeycomb, simply because it's the strongest form in nature. I mean, it's not something I'm just clinging to. They already admit. Look, it's what I'm saying. What I'm talking about. EU is really not conspiratorial. What's actually conspiratorial is that we can't we're literally it seems like we have to keep these people on pedestals like Hawking or Einstein, and at any cost in the popular media. but there are real like plasma. I've actually not just the Voyager, Mark, but like NASA has a whole plasma department. Like I mean, we know what. I mean, there's a debate to be had about like the sun.
Well, but
and
to play the devil's advocate, aren't those people up on a pedestal because of their proven to be right? So until they start,
but science is not about being right or Nobel prizes. It's about,
well, it's what science confirms. So as a theory, say that Einstein put together, once again was confirmed.
But we're living on the grid that Tesla built and Faraday built. Not Einstein.
I'm just saying, I'm not. That's not.
People
what
don't
I'm debating.
talk about Tesla the same way they talk about Einstein. Einstein cannot be touched, and Tesla's like people are vague about it, like pretty fuzzy, and it's a car at this point.
No, I don't. That's not me. Nikola Tesla is actually very popular. In fact, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
when
we
it's
studied more Tesla than Einstein, actually.
Because I'm working on a movie about Nikola Tesla right now, actually.
Yeah.
And it's a 3D movie. Doing it with Douglas Trumbull. You guys who heard me before know Doug. Doug and I are very good friends, and we went to Niagara Falls. We did some filming. We've done drone shoots to get information, and we're studying Nikola Tesla and his findings. And we're actually doing some fluid dynamic stuff in a fluid tank, which I can't talk more about because
let me do this real quick. I mean, it's 9:30. Chris, you said you were streaming later on again tonight, correct?
I don't know. I'm chilling. Yeah,
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm actually our conversation is not done. We're going to do this again. I notched this out just because I wanted to hear this.
Chris, that's his way of saying he's tired of talking to us.
No, actually, I'm going to keep you on, Mark, because I want to let you answer the questions that because I told people you were coming on, and I want to make sure to get to that before we get too low where the moon looks like crap.
All right, gentlemen,
starts going down in the size. But Chris, we are not done by any means. I want to know more, and I definitely want to designate a time like prior. That way, we know we have a good amount of time to sit and talk with you, because I do. Once again, I do find it fascinating. I find your channel fascinating, and of course your music.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So once again, everybody, Chris, if you can, post a link to your channel in the chat. So people that want to check it out and check out some or have a conversation, I should say, with Chris over on Take Back Space TV. I definitely recommend it. We came pretty much on YouTube around the exact same time. Great channel. I still go over there and hang out to this day when we're not streaming and hang out and chit chat. It's a very relaxed place, a very chill place, and I definitely recommend it. Great moon views, 4K, the whole thing. So definitely go check it out and hang out with Chris for a little bit. And Chris, I will keep you on Skype now. That way, I'll keep you on Skype and I'll contact you so we can do this in the future.
Sounds good.
All right,
Mark.
buddy.
Appreciate the open mind and the open ears on listening to me rant. And I know I came out pretty strong in the beginning, so I hope I'd.
Chris, but you know what? If people in science are not all arrogant, there are some that are arrogant. But I'm people who know me know I'm not arrogant at all. I mean, I'm perfectly willing to listen. I may have opinions, but I didn't interrupt you. I felt like it was good for you to talk about those things because that makes everybody think, including me. So I think that's all very important. So no worries here, no harm, no foul, all good.
Awesome. Cool. Well, great. Have a great rest of your night. Peace out, chat room. Catch you on the flip.
All right, Chris. Be safe, buddy.
Bye, y'all.
Yep. All right, Mark, I definitely want to get to some stuff with you. Because you haven't been here in a long time. And once again, that was Chris at Take Back Space. I think Dapple just posted the link in the chat for anybody who wants to check it out. Really good channel. Definitely chill. And I like that. I like that opposing view. Just if anything to get people thinking. Like as I said, Mark, with you, I know what science says. I don't know everything. Obviously, my brain's not even nowhere near the size of yours. But
stop it.
But I like because once again, when we talked about this before, the electric universe theory was something that we both thought interesting, but we thought had some holes. And maybe next time I'll actually go down a list. That way all of us can stay on topic to both sides of the story. You know what I mean? And I think this was kind of thrown together at the last minute, people. So sorry if it was kind of just back and forth out of nowhere. But I like new ideas that come to the table, ones that aren't ludicrous, like the flat Earth, and you got both you and Chris have a lot more patience than I do, which is why you two are perfect for this. So, yeah. So what we'll do is we'll take a little break, maybe like 4 or 5 minutes, if that, and then we'll be back with Mark. So if you have any questions for Mark on the science side of things that he can answer, feel free to post them up, and we'll definitely try to get to them. So we'll be back in a couple minutes.
Alrighty.
returning in a minute or so. We're going to get her done. By the way, we're on wide field right now just because Paul's locking up the mall. Just so you know. Okay, maybe one more minute yet. There we are, just like that. There we go.
By the way, clear it up here so I could stream if I want.
Oh, you mother.
Well, I'm not gonna because I told you I'd do it.
Well, you know what? You're going to have to wait for the moon to go down a little bit anyway.
That's right.
See?
Yeah, when I'm running the observatory from here in Arizona, I gotta wait extra time for the sun to go down there anyway. So it's gonna necessarily be a later evening each time I do that.
Yeah. Yep. Hi, everybody. We're back. How are you?
Who's back?
We're back. All right. So, how's it going? All right. Questions for Mark in the chat. Let's see. Did I miss anything? What are y'all doing in here? Y'all been behaving?
I haven't seen anybody going down,
Whoa, easy.
No, nobody got
Oh, okay.
sent down the
Let's see.
the toilet.
Brandy said she got one. I asked over a year ago to Mark. Asking again. All right. Do you believe a camera can capture the soul leaving the body?
She asked me that a year ago.
I guess. Yep. That's what she said.
Well, I'll say this. I don't know if it can capture the soul leaving the body, but you can feel when that happens. I had 2 dogs when they passed. I had to put them down at the vets because they had blood in their lungs. As they died, they raced right through me and knocked me right off the chair I was sitting on in the vet's office. Literally shot me back 3 feet. No lie. And a year later, I had to have another dog put down. It was a greyhound. And these are very energetic dogs. And the female, when she died, she raced right through me as well. And I got knocked off. I was kneeling on the floor at that point. I got pulled onto my feet and thrown backwards. And they watched it happen. This is the vet in Avon, Connecticut. They watched it happen. And I landed in the arms of the vet tech who remembered the year before. So there's weird things out there.
Crazy.
So you can feel it. I don't know if you can capture it. I've never
I don't know. I mean, do you think it's possible through all the light spectrums?
Well, yeah, because when my father died, I was the only one there in the room when he died, and I saw a white hazy thing at the end of his hospital bed, and I thought, wow, that's pretty strange. And then I realized, wait a minute, I thought that was like a leaking gas coming from some kind of overhead supply or something, and because it was like a white.
They thought you were gassed.
Yeah, right. Well, like a white. It was like a white mist, but it wasn't even. I put my hands in it,
right,
and I felt a weird emotion when I touched it. I got this emotion of bewilderment. So I don't know what that means.
What part of your brain goes, "Hey, there's a weird mist there. I want to touch it."
I guess that's the explorer in me. I guess. Yeah. Let's touch. It's lava. It's hot. I promise.
Note to self: never visit old nuclear sites with Mark. Period.
I would do that.
Oh, look at that! It's glowing green over there. Let's touch it. That's cool.
No, but see, it's really cool. Thank you to the well wishers. It's cool because I felt privileged. I felt like this is something that is what everybody wants to hear about and see. Yeah. Why can't everybody experience these things? There's more, right?
Right.
That's pretty cool. So that's the answer, Brandy. I don't know if you can see it, but I know you can feel it. Because I saw my father, but it was now. What could a camera have captured that? I think so. So that's pretty cool.
Well, thank you, Ted, for the $20. Another year gone by. Happy holidays, everybody. Thanks, B&K. Well, thank you, Ted, and you should be coming around a lot more often, sir.
Oh, Ted's around. He's been around.
He's around. Oh, well, maybe because we haven't been around all that much. It seemed like every time we set up, like, it was clear as anything, and then as soon as he put the telescopes out, clouds. Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It just, like the other night when I was going to have you on, I was like, all right, it's going to be a good night. It was nice and clear, and then done.
Yeah.
As soon as we went live.
I opened up the telescope tonight, and I was out there doing some maintenance and realignments. It's beautiful. Everything's working great. I'm like, all right, cool. I can stream now. And I came out of the dome, and I looked in the northeastern position, and there was this wall of clouds heading at me at like 1,000 miles an hour, it seemed. So I literally had to run back in and close the dome very quickly because I thought it was a snow squall coming.
Right.
It turned out it was a nothing squall. and now it's totally clear again.
Yeah.
So and it's 9:51. Yeah, I'll stick around for a few minutes, and I'll probably go out there and open the dome again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't see us streaming overly late, tonight.
No, it's fine. Because Orion's going to be coming up, and the later it goes, the better position it's going to be in. But we're going to have
Well,
it
not
all
only
win.
that, but the moon will be lower too, so it'll start getting out of your way, if you know what I mean.
I do, but I was looking at the moon before, so I took some beautiful shots of the moon earlier tonight.
Sweet.
Yeah. So check it out. We got I think I told you we got a GoFundMe in place now for the observatory in Arizona, and we were up and running with the GoFundMe for like 2 weeks maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and we already reached over $2,500.
Nice.
Yeah. So GoFundMe says you got to take that money, or they stop allowing people to donate. So I took the money out, so that it zeroes it out. So now people can donate again. I got an observatory fund, and that's going to take care of the foundation and the piers.
How much was the GoFundMe for? 25?
No, I made it 7,500.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what I figured I would need, and I figured if people want to support it, then that's fine. It gives them an option. But if not, well, it'll just take longer to get it done.
Yep.
But I've got the land out there that I can use it on, and there's a legal agreement that's going to be drawn up, so says that I can use that land in perpetuity.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool, yeah.
So you're basically just putting a observatory out there with pretty much like a shed with a retractable roof, right? What you were saying?
It's going to be a roll-off roof, yeah.
Nice.
I talked to the guy that's going to build it, and it's going to start life as one of those Home Depot shed kits.
Yep.
And it's going to end life as a roll-off roof observatory.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, they're really not hard, and I've written code and put together a few microcontrollers to actually do some of the work. So I'm using them here actually as a test. So, for instance, turning on the scope, turning it on and off, you have to basically turn on a power switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got a fairly robust switchable power supply that you can put in couple little wires from a microprocessor, and if you send the right signal to those wires, the relay gets thrown, which turns on the power.
Right.
That's what I do here now. So now
Ted was wondering what the name of the GoFundMe page is, or do you have a link to it that you can post up for people?
I could, yeah. I mean, if people are interested.
Keep telling us about it, and Mark, I'll be right back.
The bathroom opened up.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Ted, thanks. The GoFundMe, I'll get it. I'll get the page. The thing is that I never expected that I would be doing a GoFundMe of any kind. I always kind of frowned on those things. But you know something? It turns out that there's a community out there that wants to help, wants to be part of it. So I'm like, wow, okay. So that's what we did, That's what we did. So I'll get the link up here. And I hate it. It sounds like I'm begging for money, and I really hate that. I'm sorry. It's not what I'm about. But we do have a beautiful 5-acre parcel that we didn't have to buy, but we have to maintain. And it's in the Sonoran Desert, 60 miles northwest of Phoenix. And it's in a beautiful spot because when you look toward the south, there's nothing all the way to Mexico. When you look toward the west, there's nothing all the way to Los Angeles. Okay. And when you look to the north, there's nothing all the way to Prescott Valley. And when you look to the east, where everything rises from, you have the light dome of Phoenix. And so I don't care about that because the things that rise in the east, they're eventually going to be at my prime meridian or a little lower. toward the east, and that's perfect because it's really, really beautiful out there. And then after that, I'm perfectly okay with the sites, and so I have it all aligned. I have stakes in the ground out there to indicate which way the building has to face and which way the roof is going to roll off. And the roll-off roof is actually going to be done by a simple garage door opener. And I wrote the code already to control the garage door opener. That works, and I will be able to roll the roof off from Connecticut all the way out in Arizona. And I'll have cameras out there that I'll be able to look at to determine if it's going to be a good enough night. And then we'll do everything that we do with SkyTour Livestream, but we'll be doing it from here. So it's pretty cool. So, are you back, Keith? And he is.
Oh,
good. I'm glad you're back. Can you hang on for a minute?
That was spiritual.
All right. Well, you hang on for a minute. I'm going to. I got to go do something. I'll be right back.
Okay. I have no idea what Mark was talking about, but hi, everybody. Let me shout out to the people that are hanging out with us in chat. If you haven't said anything in the chat, you probably won't show up. But I know there's a lot of people here, so participants. Wow. 60 people watching and only 9 participants. Oh, 8. The 9th is myself. So D. Smith, Ghost Marine, Justin T, Marky Mark, Nancy, of course Mark, Ted, and Brandy. That's who I have as active participants. Now, actually, that's who I actually see in the chat. Yes. Once again, I want to thank Chris from Take Back Space for coming on and enlightening us a little bit on the electric universe. Stephen Ireland, I see him just popped up here. Once again, anybody I missed that was chatting earlier, I'm sorry. My bad. David Schmidt has just joined the chat. The teacher is here. Let's see here. It's turning out to be not so bad. The air is quite calm, believe it or not, but I think there's a low layer. Let me text Paul here, see what Paul says. Okay. I'm going to read this very slowly as I type it. Believe me, I don't normally read this slow, but since I'm typing it, it's going to sound like how is the skies looking, bro? No, I ain't gonna put that. There we go. Let's see what he says. But it's really calm. That's a good thing. And we're counting down now. Zenith was at 8:20, so we're about an hour and a half past Zenith, so that's not bad. Tron, man, charging up my battery packs because I got a big storm coming tonight. Oh boy. Snowstorm, Tron? I would guess so if you're charging up battery packs. And hello, John Brown. Paul says the skies are looking sleepy. And Mark just ran into the microphone.
Oof. I'm sorry I ran into the microphone, Peter.
Oh, Marky, you're a good little boy.
You're running the microphone there, Mort. That's okay. So, yeah, everything's looking up for the observatory out west. Actually, you want to hear an even crazier possibility?
Nah.
Okay.
I always wanted to do that in conversation. Go ahead.
No, I'll just roll with it. Okay,
like, man, you also want to know something else? Nah, that's okay.
All right.
Yeah, go for it. What's
up? It's like the kids, kids, hey, you know what? Yes, and walk away. The cooler thing is, I might be able to swing making 2 full observatories, one in Arizona and one here in Connecticut. And start the night in Connecticut and finish the night in Arizona. So I might have two full observatory capability here, because I'm going to be doing everything but a second telescope, in Arizona. So I might as well look into getting a second telescope and put out there. Yeah, and I'm looking at several different kinds.
So did you need somebody to just go out there and sit in the sheds all day and look through telescopes? Because I might know somebody.
You can do that if you like.
Oh, what, me? I don't know if sure. Actually, I'm looking at a plot of land in West Virginia.
Yeah,
up in the mountains.
Yeah. The only thing you have to contend with there is humidity.
And internet.
Well, yeah, but we assume that internet can be piped in, right?
No, don't assume. Not in West Virginia. 60
miles west in the middle of the Sonoran Desert. I have full internet. Ask me how? Well, the scientist that owns the land that he's letting me basically squat on for perpetuity, it's a 5-acre chunk, and he leveled it and flattened it, so there's nothing. It's all flat. It's just beautiful, and the observatory is going to go right in the middle of it. Yeah, and we're gonna
wait. Do I get to travel west with you and help you set this thing up, or what?
If you want,
because
absolutely.
You're not going to sit here and talk about all this stuff and then not invite me, right?
No, you're right.
We're not going to do that, right?
We're not
going to do that, right, Mark?
No, not going to do that. In fact, the matter is, there's plenty of room for you to take an RV and bring it out there and put it on the land as well.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 acres, man. It's 5 acres flat. But
what if I took the RV out there?
Shooting range. There's a shooting range on the property too that he put up. So you just have to make sure you park your vehicles away from the earth-bermed target locations.
Oh, so I can't take the RV out there and just park it and leave it there?
Yeah, you can. You just got to keep it, more toward the southern side.
No. You have to do that. If I take it there and leave it there, then it can just stay there and you can use it.
Oh, no. I'm not living in an RV out there. No.
36 foot. Are you kidding me? It's a palace.
Huh? Well, yeah, but
it's a 36-foot palace with 3 bump outs. I know people with houses that aren't that big.
That's funny because this guy owns a 39-foot RV, and he drove here from Arizona to stay here 13 days.
Yeah.
And we built one of the first drones in Connecticut here, right here. Yep. And when we tried to run it and fly it the first time, it was like a buzzsaw tumbleweed rolling over down my property.
I need to get a drone. Cut your grass for you, though.
Oh, it was cutting the grass, cutting the branches of the trees.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I need to get a drone. I've been thinking about, I like the little, the Mavics.
Yeah,
they came out with another one recently.
I was doing some professional cinematography with the Mavic Pro for the Nikola Tesla movie.
Well, I did. See, the thing that made me realize this is when we were out in Utah, I was like, man, how awesome would it be to be able to fly a drone? Because it did have certain areas you could.
Just go up 100 feet and look around. I mean, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, but you know how cinematic I am. So I'm like, I mean, look at me. I'm still sitting on footage of craters for, 2 years already of us. We did. But you know what? They look damn good. They look damn good. And eventually we'll release that. And if people in the chat don't know what we're talking about, that's on purpose. I'm leaving a cliffhanger.
Well, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Me and Mark filmed some stuff 2 years ago on a January day that was literally -3 during the day. I got to his house at 8 a.m.
You did.
And it was frozen. It looked like that scene in Dumb and Dumber where the snot's just frozen to your face.
Oh, that's nice.
And I'm knocking on his door looking like Ralphie from A Christmas Story.
Yeah, except
I'm sitting out there waving my arms. I'm like, Mark, come to play with me. You know what I mean? And we filmed a lot that day, actually.
We did.
And and I still have it. It's still there. It's all still looking good. It's shot in. Did we shoot that in 4K? I don't think we did. Or did we? We used one for. No, we shot it in 1080, I believe.
Okay.
With your camera, or was it 1080 with my camera and 4K with your camera?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I have to look at what you call. Anyway, when I eventually stop being lazy, I will actually edit all that up and do that. And another thing coming very shortly for the people that like the Mercury video, the Venus mini documentary is coming very soon. The script is done. I have to send it off to the narrator, who is a surprise at this point. But it won't be the same narrator. But you will get a laugh out of who the narration is. And then I do have somebody for Earth in mind that I want to do Earths. And just put it this way, I am talking to a celebrity for the Earth video, as well as the Mars video that's going to come after that. So there will be celebrity narration.
Bill Nye said yes?
No.
Oh.
I could say I can say the Earth one, because the Earth one I wanted to make really funny because we live here, like people.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a good chance, and I hate doing this early because then if something happens and it doesn't happen, then
only the people only the 57 people watching the stream.
The Earth, I'll put it this way: the Earth video might be narrated by Chris Rock, might. So, just I'll leave it at that. Yeah, exactly. That's why I need to, because his take on like people and how they do things, and the thing is about meeting up, because we have a mutual friend and we have to do it in Philadelphia at a certain date in January, where we're going to have like 2 hours where we can hash out a script real quick that we're going to do through a voice recorder, and then I'm going to come back and make the script of everything that was said between both of us, and then send it to him. He'll record it, send it back to me, and then I'll apply it to the video, and then I'll do the video based on the narration. Blah 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 blah. So I think that'll be cool. Anyway. And then the Mars one, that's still in preliminary. I'm not gonna do that, but anyway, yeah. So I can imagine now people yelling at me because it's not a serious documentary like I did with Mercury. I had a couple teachers email me and say, "Hey, I played this Mercury documentary."
Oh.
I'm like, "Yeah, you didn't read the description, did you?" They're
Yeah,
like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, well, maybe I'll have to put it in the title next time."
You should have said Peggy 12.
Yeah, but I did. I released a edited version, for people that wanted to. I mean, it doesn't have the impact that the original one did, because out of nowhere you just hear this voice just talking all this shit about Mercury. You know what I mean? I don't know. I found it hilarious. Call me sick. I don't know. I thought it was freaking hilarious, but then again, I have a sick sense of humor.
That's right.
So whatever. What can you do, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Caliendo, that would be a good one.
Yeah. Rock should have done Jupiter. Wow, that's the biggest motherfucking planet in the whole solar system.
Well, dude, you know what would have been my favorite if he was around? I would have loved to get why is this guy's name escaping? Oh, George Carlin to do Earth if he was still living. That would have been the best. Yeah. Like, I would have been just like, that's it. We're stopping the whole series right here because that's it. It's done. Nobody's going to do it better, But yeah. So hopefully, and if we can make this meeting happen down in Philly, then it'll all be good. So let's hope. Fingers crossed.
Roger that.
So what do you got going on, huh? Oh yeah, you got a telescope going in Arizona. Sure, I got meetings with Chris Rock. How you doing?
On me, I guess.
Yeah, but Venus coming up. You'll recognize, a lot of people will recognize the voice right off the bat. And I told him to turn the accent up a little bit, if you know what I mean. Because I think I told you who it was, right? I told you, didn't I?
I don't believe you've told me.
Hold on, I'll type it in the chat, and then you can comment. You can make a educated comment about it. Let's see here. This is who is doing the Venus one.
Is this guaranteed?
Yes, guaranteed.
Okay.
There you go. So I told him I was like, yes, and is it him? So you can get that. But I told him to take the. Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I told him to take the accent up a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a good one, especially for Venus of all planets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You figure that he'd be a good one for like Jupiter or Saturn or.
That's it. Rhymes with. I get you.
Yeah, the high-paid hooker, Venus. Yeah, you got it. Anybody have any questions for Mark while we're just sitting here dabbling, or do you guys find this just us sitting here goofing around interesting? Because I don't know if you do or not, and don't care. But I'm just
Well,
joking.
for those
I
of you
do
that are
care.
out there that haven't subscribed to Sky Tour Livestream, which is our channel that is the live astronomical observatory on clear nights, like it's turning out to be now,
Yes.
please do. Sky Tour Livestream is on YouTube. You can find us all over the place.
Yep. And you can find me on there twice a year.
Actually, more than twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
You're on there a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, you're the reason I do this at all.
Yes. We know.
I know.
I'm
Okay,
awesome.
hey,
What can I say?
I don't disagree with that. You got me into it, and
It is turning out pretty good for you, though, isn't it?
yeah, we're
you know what, dude? You know what we have to do Sunday?
we're 32.
We need to get Bill.
No. Yeah.
We need to, all three of us, jump online together on Skype and get that stupid website fixed. Because they updated the CSS, and I think we can do it now with the live links. And if not, then I'll get somebody on from. I'll get our representative from YouTube on and find a way to circumvent it, so that we can.
Yeah.
Because that's something we definitely need.
Yeah.
We need Astro Imaging Live to update without us having to go in there and put links every time. Because I always forget.
Dapple Ben just put my channel up. I also put it up. Thank you, Ben.
Well, thank you, Dapper Ben. You are a patriot.
What are you, Cartman? Just grown up?
I am Kurtman, just grown up.
And you are a patriot.
That is super.
Mimsy.
Let's see. Man, it actually it's not looking bad, is it?
No, it looks good.
It looks like he took the color out probably because of the fog.
He did.
But yeah,
he did.
He dropped it in a grayscale, but that's okay. Grayscale is the color of the cosmos.
Well,
dude, is there a thing called gray application, or like different shades of gray are applied with colors? Isn't there some? I was reading something about that. Like they photograph a lot of things in space, and then they know based on what they did in the lab, like what those grays would look like as color, and then they apply the color to those different shades of grays in order to make a color photograph. Am I off there or what?
A little bit. I mean, they take images through a red, green, and blue filter.
Okay, I know that.
And then they combine them like you can do in Photoshop, and that makes a color picture.
Okay.
Otherwise, you get just the red filter, the green, or the blue, and each of those will show different things. You also have special narrowband filters for like when you do a nebulae and stuff. Okay.
All right.
Oxygen 3, sulfur, hydrogen alpha.
Ooh, what
and
was that?
And it looks like he changed something. He changed the gain.
No, I thought I saw something flying, but it might have been a eye thing. Out of the corner of my eye. Wait till it goes, till he starts moving. I'm looking on the YouTube feed now.
That's all right.
Let me see. Come on. I hate this 30-second delay, but if I put it on like a faster one, then we start having problems with buffering and stuff, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, we're over. Did I see anything? Did I see? I'm losing my mind.
He's losing his mind, folks.
Okay, he just turned it. That's where I thought I saw it, right around now. Okay, maybe I didn't.
Oh, did you see that?
Son of a bitch.
I didn't see
okay.
that.
All right. Yeah, okay, maybe I didn't. Okay. Anyway, continue, sir. Like you remember.
I remember, right. You pulled me way off track.
Yeah.
That's okay.
All right.
I wasn't talking about anything important anyway, right?
Right. Just a cure for cancer. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And I interrupted with an eye floater.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Cool.
Actually, it could be a piece of stuff that you sneezed out of your body. It's on your screen.
Oh, is that what that is? No. Nah, can't be. Let's see. We got Justin T and David Schmidt and Ted and Dagger and a lot of blue. A lot of blue. And Benson Speed Shop. I haven't seen him in a while. Hello, Benson Speed Shop. And Marky Mark. And I'm just scrolling up here. Stephen Ireland.
No, you can't.
Ron Man.
Yeah, you can't go far without seeing people in the blue.
Yeah, it's a blue inundation tonight.
Yeah. Only Benson and Marky Mark aren't owners of wrenches for this.
Right?
You guys got to get in the good graces to get some wrenches.
Yeah. It's a Friday night. So
Oh,
we're in
truck
that in between time. So in about 45 minutes, that's when West Coast will start popping in.
All right.
Yeah. That's how it usually works. And I'm not sure how long Paul's going to want to go tonight because I think he might be a little sleepy. I told him to get some coffee. Suck it up.
Really?
No.
Wow. You're pretty hard on the guy.
And Edward. That's a different name to spell Edward. Edward Galtum. Hello, Edward Galtum. All right. So, there was something I was going to ask you, and I meant to ask you the other night, and now it's slipping my mind because...
I'm sorry, you lose.
No, it was, it was something to do with a close passing comet. Is there one coming close to us?
Oh, you mean the interstellar one?
Yeah. Like sometime soon.
Oh, yeah, the interstellar one is supposed to pass here. When is that supposed to come by here? I don't remember the actual...
I thought it was like right around now.
It's something like that. I'm trying to remember when that's supposed to be here. It's Borisov, you know? It's Comet Borisov.
And that's an interstellar comet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's from beyond the solar system. And Hubble looked at it and checked it out, confirmed it's truly interstellar. And it's going to... Let me look up here what it's going to do. It's going to be within 24 million miles of the sun and go racing on out. So obviously it's going to be heading well within the Earth's orbit.
Wow, look at that mountain range. That's some deep, sharp shadowing right there.
Yeah.
Pretty. Kind of makes you think like what you take for granted here on Earth. Like, you know how actual like beautiful this world is. Like, a lot of people like really don't like stop and look around and appreciate like what is actually here.
Oh, I know.
You know, it's. I mean, I had one of those kind of moments out in Utah and whatnot. I'm just like, wow. Like, you just kind of just hit you at once. You're like, wow, this planet is really pretty. For everything you see, even just like we didn't even go as far as California, but just going from Pennsylvania out to Utah and New Mexico and Arizona, and then coming back through Colorado and even Kansas. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That state
Kansas
that never ends.
State that never ends because it's lengthwise to you when you're going that way.
But the one thing in Kansas,
it's got mountains in it. See, it's not flat like people think.
Well, we went to Monument Rock in Kansas while we were out there, and it's so interesting seeing these, just giant, nature-made monuments, and you can literally go up and see the seashells in it and falling out of it. And just to think that there was an ocean there at one time.
Yep.
And, that proves it right there. There is just rocks sticking up out of the farmland that have seashells just sticking out of them.
Yeah. Well, the rest of the farmland was eroded away and the harder rocks stayed behind. That's
right.
What that
And
is.
even the hard rocks are just like they crumble.
Yeah, well, and they over time, like Devil's Tower.
Because stupid me, being, an ignoramus, I went up and I was like, wow, check out this rock. And I saw a shell, so I grabbed it, and it came right out. And then I saw something.
You got yourself a fossil.
So, yeah, well, here's the thing. I don't have a fossil. Wink, wink. Okay? I never touched the monument. Wink, wink. And you can't prove it. Because I did not see the sign that I was supposed to see. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, let me tell you what. I have a shell. Accidentally came into my possession through my ignorance.
I would just have to stare at you, and you'd finally tell me everything you stole their entire life.
No. I pulled the shell out because I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I turn around and the sign's like right in my face. And I'm like, you want to talk about like a Larry Dave moment, like Curb Your Enthusiasm? I'm like, oh boy. And I'm like looking around for like cameras. I'm like, oh great, some farmer's gonna come out here and like murder me for picking a shell off of his, big tower thing here. And it didn't happen, but still, it's cool.
Well, did you get a fossil of a shell?
No, I got an actual shell.
Okay.
That's all. I mean, I didn't try to. Okay, maybe I tried a little bit to get a shell, but it was just there, and it was just like in a wall, and I just like grabbed it, like with your index finger, and your thumb, just saying, "Oh, that's kind of cool. It's sticking out," and it just came right out. Like I didn't like bash it with a hammer to get it out or anything. It just like it wanted to come home with me, so it did.
It did. Not that it did, because it really didn't, but
Yes.
it will.
Yes.
It will.
And it's great. And now I have. I mean, it's not like it's a big shell. It's just a little. It's a little.
Yeah.
What can I compare it to? Like
Is it a little brachiopod?
Okay, take a pen, okay, and look at the cap of the pen, the
Yes.
little round part. That's about how big it is. It's not big.
It's tiny.
Okay, maybe it's a little bigger than that. Okay, take like a Tylenol bottle and take the cap off. It's about the size of the cap. Okay.
Okay, so 3/4 of an inch across.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So take a Maxwell House coffee can and take the lid.
The
It's
point
about the
is,
size of the lid.
it just wanted to come home with me, and I couldn't tell it no.
Yeah.
And there was no cameras there to tell me no either.
Okay.
Sorry, Kansas. If you need me to return the little seashell that jumped out at me and stuck itself in my pocket, I will gladly return it.
I stuck it in my pocket, wrapping its own tissue.
Well,
and
that's the
putting it-
thing. It was so loose, like you could have leaned against the rock, and it might have just got caught in your shirt and went for a ride. But they are cool. Like if you're there, I'll do you one in Kansas. I'll send you more people. If you're ever in Kansas, for whatever godforsaken reason you have to be, go to Monument Rocks. It's
And
about
go
30
pick
miles
out-
off of I-70. Is that runs through there?
Something.
Yeah.
By the way, Sunday. Sunday.
No, we were there on a Tuesday.
No, Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Sunday is the day when Comet Borisov will be at closest approach.
Oh, wow, really? You're going to try to get it?
I got to look at the chart. Let's see. No, it's a Southern Hemisphere one.
Son of a... I got to call...
Yeah, December 8th
Dazzle.
it'll be in Crater in Corvus, so we might just miss the sea, but then it goes south.
Hey,
Yeah,
Germany's in the northern hemisphere?
Yes, last we checked.
Darn it. Okay, that takes out JW out of the deal.
About
Man,
yeah,
call Dazza. Or David, do you have a telescope?
well, David Schmidt down in Bangkok, yeah. Or we also have James Dugan down in Australia.
Yes, does he have a telescope?
Well, let's ship him one real fast. We'll ship him one really quickly.
Oh, I thought you said soup du jour. I'm like, what are you on about? Yeah, right? No, if he even has... Well, yeah, I guess you probably would need a pretty good one. But at least some kind of tracking.
You're not messing with stuff, like Chris was, are you?
No, I'm trying to figure out, like, who's down south.
Oh,
Like
we
south
got
of the equator.
we got Dave. We have also
We have David, we have Dazza, we have and James.
James.
But we don't know anybody like Africa, South America.
Not that I know of.
Well, I bet you Chili Scope will probably cover it.
Oh yes, actually,
Oh, that's right. He's near Thailand. His air. He probably couldn't even see 4 feet in front of him with a telescope, let alone the sky.
yeah,
Notorious.
we could do. I could get into SLU and grab the Chilean telescopes and see what's going on if Chile's open.
Yeah.
They're going to have all kinds of missions. I'm sure they'll have that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure SLU will be covering it one. Well, then again, I don't know.
I've been in SLU since it began, and then I got out when they went to literally. There was one at one point their cost went from $12.99 a year to $24.99 a year, and I weathered that. Then they went to $49.99 a month,
What?
and I was like, yeah, I'm out of here until I left. And I recently went back and discovered that now they've gone totally back the opposite way, and now it's reasonable to actually get in there and be able to use the telescopes in the Canary Islands and Chile again. I think they're trying to make a stab at trying to catch the professional market, and it didn't work, unfortunately. But those are truly remote telescopes. They don't have anybody manning them. They go to wherever you tell them to go.
Right.
It's like Skytree live stream, except not with the flexibility. You only get 5 or 10 minute shots. You can't do your own. You can't sit there and wait and look at the object for 15 minutes and then talk about it. Not at all. You can only take one, then on it goes to the next one, and you're not in control because someone else maybe is telling the telescope to go somewhere else, to look.
I'll tell you what, I wish you were around when we did the Mercury transit.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen that.
You were out west, I think.
I was in Arizona when that took place.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. We had a pretty big crowd that day.
I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, when all you have to do is poke a hole in the tree leaf, and then project what comes through, and you get a perfect impression of the sun.
Is that all you had to do? I mean, stupid us. We took a solar scope and watched it for 7 hours. Sheesh.
The contrast was good. If the contrast was good, you could put it on a card and actually seen Mercury crossing the disk. It's very, very small, like a little tiny sunspot.
I'll tell you what, Mark. We're going to wrap up here at 11. Is that cool to you? Does that give you enough time to do your? Well, you're up all night anyway.
No, I'm not. But yeah, I'm gonna be heading out there into the dome. I think if it's still clear.
We'll wrap us up in the next 15 minutes, and that'll give you 15 minutes to prep your stuff so people can go check you out at 11. How about that?
Sounds good.
Right? See, I'm considerate. I think about you, buddy.
You're all right. You got me into this.
Yeah.
Now you're stuck with it.
Don't tell anybody. Yeah. Hey, anybody have any questions for Mark? Because you know what? For as much as I got messaged about when you're gonna have Mark on again, I'm not seeing anything here. Maybe want to know why? Because once again, you took a while to get back to me. I didn't get a chance to put you in the title. That's probably why.
That's okay.
We'll have to make sure we do that, though. I'll make sure to do it in post.
Yeah. Okay, the moon. There's some haze. What's going on with the moon?
That's why we're gonna just do to 11 because they're starting to be funky. He'll probably leave it on wide. We'll do one more tour with the big scope, and then we'll wrap at 11. But what can you do? But I am gonna come over and just sit and hang out on your channel for a little bit because I am in no way tired. So. Or shall I join you? Shall I just join you into the interception and stay there for 15 minutes and then leave?
If you'd like.
Well, I don't have to, man. I got to get up at 4, but,
If you want to. You want to come on?
We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to take your stream down.
You take my stream down.
Yeah. Well,
You won't take the stream down.
My comedy is not for everyone, if you know what I mean.
I do, and that's why I've got this new bleeper button. No, I don't.
Oh, really?
No, I don't. Totally. Let's see. That's your stream.
We're gonna have Ethel on next week.
Who?
Ethel.
Ethel?
Grandma. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. She's feisty in her old age, but she wants to come on. I said okay. She's the one that downs like a fifth of Jack Daniels and Haymaker the Cop. Classic grandma stuff.
Wow.
And,
a West Virginia cop, a grandmother.
No. It's just my family.
Wow.
Welcome to the jungle.
Wow. Well, you should have Ma on,
Yeah. She'll tell you her days about, back when she was whoring and all this stuff. You'll love it.
Did you watch the stream go from G to Peggy 12?
Oh, yeah. It'd be 18 plus.
R.
Easily.
Then it's X-rated in no time. Then you got to now it's no longer suitable for anybody.
Well, I thought about doing it on a gaming channel. I was like, no. You know what? People are going to like Ethel. Really going to like her because she's nothing like you have ever heard before.
Witchy.
And I guarantee in the future, Ethel is going to be on your stream as well.
Is Ethel a character you created like I created Clem?
No, it's Grandma.
Okay, we're going to play it that way. All right, yeah.
It's Grandma.
Hey, say hi to Carol Carl.
My grandmother. Hello, Carol Carl. Is that how it's said, Carl?
Carl, yeah.
Carl,
She's in the
Carl.
chat. She's Friday nights at 7 p.m. behind the Obsidian Curtain on KGRARadio.com.
Hey, another KGRA person. By
That's
the way,
right.
you can check out Mark D'Antonio Sunday nights at 8 on KGRA Radio as well.
That's right. That's right. And the Sky Tour Radio. All
Are
things
you
Sky.
are you live this week?
We are.
Awesome. Because you haven't had a live one in a while, have you?
No, we let's see. Do we? I didn't. Yeah, we didn't do over Thanksgiving, but we had a live one the week before.
Wasn't that the week you were in Arizona, or no?
No, that was the week. Just the week I'd come back.
Oh, okay. Very good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So.
So Carl is on before you?
Well, she's Friday nights.
Oh, Friday nights. Okay.
So yes, before me, or depending on whether you think the week starts with Sunday.
Wow. So she just got done now and then came over here?
Friday nights at 7. Yeah, it's Friday night. You're right.
Yeah.
So she must have done that. Actually, maybe she did a pre-record for tonight. I'm not sure.
7 Eastern time?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be...
Are Eastern.
Is she from the East? Are you from the East, Carol?
She is not. She's from California.
Okay, so she would be doing it at 4? So it would be 7 now? 7:30?
Very good, Keithy. You can do your math.
I like math.
I can do it. Honest, Mommy, I can do it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, see what she said?
And what's the subject matter of that radio show, since you're educating me?
Oh, actually, let her tell you. You should bring her up.
I don't have any of her contact. Do you?
Oh, I do, yeah. Should I pop her in?
Go ahead if you want to.
We could throw her in there. Carol, you're going to be coming on, whether you like it or not.
Carol?
Yeah, I bring her on in SkyTour live stream too. She comes on. She's really good. You know,
Cool.
she likes.
Yeah, since we're just shooting a breeze, until we wrap it up. Yeah, go for it.
All right, so there we go. So let's. So let me see now. We go to.
Yeah, good luck with that Skype, by the way.
I'll figure this out. It's only impossible. It's not difficult.
Well, I find if you click on us,
Yes.
our ongoing call, and there's a little person with a plus by it up the top right.
That's what I did.
Okay,
and
cool.
now I'm going to. Well, it's funny because I went to say add her to the call. Oh, wait, because it didn't select. Now it did. Okay, now I'm going to add her. Here you come, Carol.
Here you come, Carol.
Let's see if she'll come in.
She said she's game. Just
Here
wrapped.
she comes. Walking down through Skype. She got the funniest electrical signals. I can't say the rest. That would be funny.
Right?
Well, she's still dialing. Oh, there she is.
Bum, bum, bum.
There she is.
There she is.
Oh. Good evening. Can you even hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Because
She is a great cornholio.
yeah, hey, I'm just a Skype. It's calling you now.
So, Carol, I was asking Mark, what exactly is your show on KGRA?
I have no idea what it has. Is there a delay?
Oh, you got to turn your volumes down.
Yeah, I'd mute the YouTube stream.
Yeah, just mute your YouTube stream if you're playing that so you don't get confused.
What I'm trying to do is switch this over to my other.
I didn't give you much time.
No,
It is still your turn.
Boom, boom, boom.
What I'm
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying actually to
I think she's dropping
computer
out.
so that I've got headphones. Give me a second.
Okay.
I didn't give
No.
you a second.
No tech savvy whatsoever. Hold on. just talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst ourselves.
Well, that's what we're doing.
So,
Yes.
hey, how's it going?
Okay.
Uh-oh. There's a booger. There's a booger on the lens.
Whoa.
You guys may
Aw.
regret this.
Where? I don't see a booger.
Oh, you will. You will. Somebody blew a snot rocket onto the big scope. Let's get it out of there. Let's get it off of there. There you go. Good job, Paul. You know, that's why he makes the big bucks.
I
Look
don't
at this. Look at this. I mean, seriously.
I see it now.
See? Yep.
It's just a little bit of a
Uh,
blemish.
yeah, don't worry. He takes care of it then.
I'm sure he does.
I can see Bolton there. What is that? Driving him nuts.
And it's gone.
And there it goes.
Carol,
It's
you
like
still
Data
there?
Blaine.
Carol, are you still
Carol's
there?
probably off in some other Skype chat somewhere on another channel.
I know. You know, these guys let me go on there. I just didn't want to do it. You know.
Yeah.
One of them snot rocket, and I was out of there.
If you want to hear Carol, you can tune in to Third Phase of the Moon right now.
Oh,
She's over there. Somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know where she went.
And hello, Tron, man. I'm not sure if you were here earlier when I
He
was
was.
shouting out people, but I see you now.
He was.
It was. We're kind of just loafing now, waiting for the end.
Hello.
Holy
hello.
moly, yes.
Okay.
Calling from the International Space Station. No, actually, from Claremont, California.
No.
So, how are you guys?
I woke
Doing
up.
good.
So, this is not. Okay, wait. How do I eliminate that echo?
Mute the YouTube.
Mute the YouTube. Ah, a whole new world.
A whole new world.
Oh God! Listen, really. Okay.
I hate that song with
Oh,
a
so
passion.
why?
Is it still echoing when you do that?
Cannot stand that song. It's so wrong.
Because we're about to break out into American Idol right here.
God, listen, honestly, has America got talent? Yeah, you decide.
Have you watched that show? I'm not banking on
You
it.
know, never, never have I watched. I think never will I watch. I'm trying to. Anybody got any clues as to how I mute my YouTube? Because I don't even have you guys on YouTube.
Oh.
I opened my Skype and I saw join call, and that's.
Okay, well, what are you hearing? You're hearing an echo?
I'm
from,
hearing an echo.
of
As
you?
long as it's not bothering you guys, I can do it.
Yeah, I don't even hear one.
Oh, cool. Then I'll just think I'm slightly delusional.
And just talk and prove it to the entire group.
Well,
Yeah,
here's the main thing I wanted to know.
Okay, yes.
I wanted to know what your show is, like what kind of topics that you cover on KGRA, since you are a fellow KGRA person along with Mark. I just
am.
wanted to know
What-
what your show, what the basics of it.
What do we call that? Are we KGRAians or KGRAians?
You might have to go the Commander Cobra route and just call it KGRNs.
KGRNs.
He would be the dude, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, tonight, for instance, my guest was this amazing guy named Joshua Cutchin. I'll spell it. It's Cuthin. He is, he's first off a tuba player.
Tuba player.
Yeah. So,
Are you
of course,
close to your mic right now?
no,
Sounds
not.
like you're farther away because
Well,
the
Oh, now I am hearing the echo, yeah.
okay, so.
Is it
wish
picking
I-
up the headphones, maybe?
It
Oh, see, now
doesn't
it's fine.
usually.
Yes,
Oh, really?
Yeah, now it's
Okay.
fine.
Oh, it doesn't
What I
matter.
did was, I don't know how that works because
Well, that's perfect right there. What are you doing?
okay,
Whatever you're doing now.
I turned it down a little bit.
Okay, that
Perfect.
works.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sort of back in Art Bell days. Turn down your radio. Okay, I'm still getting the artifacts of the echo. But hey, so it goes. Okay, behind the obsidian curtain, for instance, as I was saying, Joshua Cutchin is a tuba player, and of course the joke was made. He didn't confirm the rumor that he was connected to Tuba Stars Academy.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, okay. Well, actually, don't blame me. It was my spouse. It was morning coffee.
You just told a Mark joke.
Boom, boom.
I did a spit take,
She didn't catch that.
No, what did I miss? What?
I said you just told a Mark joke.
I did. Oh God, I can't tell you how that pleases me and warms my heart.
What do we think about To the Stars Academy?
Oh, I don't know. Let's take that. You guys tell me what you think.
I think it's a big money grab. What do you think, Mark?
I think that that's part of it. I think that they have, however, raised questions that would not otherwise have been raised in a timely manner. So,
True.
Yes, it's a money grab to me, but it's also worth dealing with the nonsense just so you can get to some of the good nuggets.
Ooh.
As long as those nuggets aren't being held back for more money,
Right.
That's the only problem.
Yeah.
Which tends to be the trend.
It does. Everything from the lower level money, join the insider, blah blah.
Doesn't it seem like all of it is like as soon as something becomes popular in ufology, all of a sudden it just somebody's like it's almost like somebody's always trying to turn it into a business, like a money making affair. And it's so weird. But from you got who's the ding dong in Florida, the Stephen Greer. Yeah, Greer. You had Wilcox. You have who's the other ding dong over in Switzerland?
Very not good.
In Switzerland,
Billy Meyer.
Now see.
And Michael Horn. Michael Horn's the more money grabber.
The deal. I don't think it's Billy as much as Michael. He was a guest several times on a network that is long gone under, Inception Radio Network, and I would listen to him from interview to interview. The guy's personality changed. I mean,
he was
like, huh? Yeah.
He's grating and angry. He's
Who are we talking about, Stephen?
Michael Greer. Michael Horn.
Michael Horn. Yeah.
Yeah, the proponent of Billy Meyer.
Oh, yeah, that guy hates me like with a passion, and I approve. Yeah,
if you say something or you question him and you come up with facts, he gets really, really angry.
Yes, and then he goes after you with personal attack.
Yeah.
And here's his modus operandi, okay? The man that would be a Michael Horn, okay? He will tell you, he'll send you an email that says, if you don't respond to my questions about your comments, I'm going to tell everybody you agree with me.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's his modus operandi.
Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah, and that's what he does. So you know what I do? I ignore him anyway. Nobody knows I would agree with him.
Well, so, it just seems that way. Like, anytime, like, nobody, some people have succeeded in making, money off of ufology, obviously. But you do have your people, nobody tells the stories of the people that have, spent their own money all these years before any of that was even thought about, from the Linda Moulton Howes to, people that were investigating this sometimes on their own dime, just to keep it going. But then you get the big guys that step in, and everybody thinks it's going to be a big breakthrough. And I think just that's what the To the Stars is. They're just waiting, and they're trying to find exclusive content, quote unquote, then to be able to sell, memberships now to the Academy, I guess that's what they call it.
Oh, I did not know.
It's just, if you have information, release it. And true disclosure is not going to come from something you're paying $12.99 a month for. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
$12.99 marked down from $15.
Yeah.
I sent a message to the Stars, and I told them that I would offer my services. I'd be happy to help them out if they would like me to do any analysis for them or whatever.
Really?
And you wouldn't believe the response I got. The response was, "We're not interested in anyone to do analysis of our videos."
Of the video.
No, wait, you're joking.
No, I'm not.
Do you have a copy of that email? Please say you do.
Oh, damn.
I might actually have to look for it. I was like stunned.
I'm going to do an exposed video.
Because that is stunning.
Yeah. We're not interested.
It's like, what prominent dude had the tagline, "Don't bother me with the facts, my mind's made up"? Was that Stanton?
Yeah. Don't bother me with facts. I've made up my mind.
Yeah. Well, that just says it.
Yeah.
I remember back in the days of Inception Radio Network chat, any time DeLong was brought up. And it's so funny. I just flashed on the fact I had to ask my producer at the time how DeLong pronounced his name. I mean, it could have been DeLongy, blah, 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 right?
Longy.
Yeah, DeLongy, DeLunge, I don't know. And he took a lunge, didn't he? I was a little suspicious, and this is not fair because it occurred to me today that as I'm going about my business and doing some Facebook messages, it occurred to me how many dudes and dudettes come from the music business and then they're sideline or they plunge off into ufology. And I guess that's something Grant Cameron explored.
Well, what was the name of the famous actress that's been in it all this time?
Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, you mean Shirley MacLaine?
Shirley MacLaine.
Yeah.
That was another one. But see, for some reason, I believe her interest, Shirley MacLaine's interest in ufology, because she never tried to sell me anything.
Yeah, and she wrote some books. And
I don't know him.
Yeah, and Don't Fall Off the Mountain. I read her autobiography many moons before that. I think my take on Shirley, she was so far ahead in her journey, farther than I, down the rabbit hole or whatever you want to call it, that when I read her first work where she came out, as it were, regarding all of this high strangeness, my take was, and I said it out loud, "Oh, Shirley, honey, no." And I kind of thought, well, she's not going to work again. She is brilliantly talented. And I don't know if you've ever seen the film Sweet Charity. Oh, my God, she runs the gamut. Dances, sings, emotes. With,
well, she was the first one that actually turned me on to the Betty and Barney Hill story.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I seen her on something and she was mentioning that case and whatever. And there's two cases in ufology that I believe 100% because of looking into them, kind of doing my own research at them. The one is the Betty and Barney Hill story, and the other one is Bob Lazar. There's the two people I believe. I don't believe people that there was a guy that was he was up in Utah or something somewhere, and he had aliens coming to his windows and stuff and taping himself and
the man who later got in trouble because there was child pornography on his computer.
Roman, you're not talking about Stan.
Yeah, exactly. I don't buy that.
I shot him down the moment I saw him. I saw the video.
Well, they called him fake in an interview as well, just throwing stuff at himself, and that was but right there, discredited.
I was one of the people that actually caught him faking things.
Oh my God, Mark! I did not know that.
I caught him. I caught him faking a voice recorder on an interview with Alejandro Rojas, who's my good friend.
Oh my God! And
I listened to the interview, and while Alejandro was doing a PSA, a public service announcement, I heard something in the background playing and stopping, and it was. You should really. It was something being queued up. It was saying that.
Oh, my God.
And then 6 minutes later, while Stan's talking, he trails off his voice and makes a psychological flub in that when your mind is taken to doing other things and you got a task to do and you start to multitask, sometimes you repeat the last sentence you just said. And he did that and then played, "You should really learn to keep your mouth shut." And then pretended he didn't know where it came from.
Something might have happened to the guy. But he took it to a whole nother level to where he discredited himself. And once again, he tried to make a business out of it.
Yep.
And that's where the whole dilemma begins.
Yeah, monetization.
And Romanek, they probably all had events that occurred in their lives. And then when the gravy train stopped coming, they said, "Oh, wait, another alien, look, another alien."
Yeah,
and they invented it. They created another one.
And it's sad. It hurts the whole ufology field as a whole. You got these people that rise up and become popular and people are all into it. And then once you start digging a little under the surface, then you start coming up with some stuff and it's like, man, but you know what? As I said, those are the two to me, Betty and Barney Hill and Bob Lazar. Because Stanton worked on the Bob Lazar thing, said he couldn't find this and couldn't find that. But there are some things that Stanton didn't find that were later found, that were true to what Bob said. So,
the truth is, okay, if you were anyone who was familiar with how elements are synthesized in the laboratory, you know that element 115 was being sought after.
Right.
So to predict it doesn't necessarily mean that you had some kind of alien pre-knowledge that it existed already.
Correct.
Because it was just a matter of time before we created 115. It's not stable.
Right. That's like me saying element 146 will eventually come out. I say that today. Eventually,
Okay,
it'll happen.
Can we quote you?
Yeah. I'm not worried about that part. I'm saying that Lazar's story has remained so consistent. He's one of those guys, besides when it first started, because of the push of people like John Lear and stuff like that. He was reluctantly into the spotlight. And, of course, he was a younger guy then, driving around his rocket car. We have, pictures from the newspapers out there, of him driving this thing around to Los Alamos and whatnot. So, yeah, I get that. But as soon as he realized that this was becoming detrimental to him and to his family, they were digging a little too deep, that's when you saw him back off. And then all of a sudden, this mystique around Bob Lazar formed. And people wanted to know, and he just wouldn't do it. He wouldn't come out of that shell. And it was, 30 years almost before he finally just did with Corbell, of all people, who I don't trust as far as I can kick.
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah, once again, it's
Jeremy's
trying to monetize ufology.
He's trying to, yeah, but he's a good guy. Jeremy's okay. I like that he got the story out.
The story okay. I just don't want to get stung by him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally.
So
back to, I got two threads I'm trying to weave into this tapestry. First of all, well, that's gone. Let's go back to Shirley MacLaine. Okay.
Get closer to my mic, hon.
I'm sorry, what?
Get closer to your mic because it's
closer
really
to my mic.
There you go.
Yeah,
that
that's so much better.
Okay, well,
You got another microphone picking you up somewhere, and it could
that's
be
bizarre. Hold on, let me step across the room.
Ow, batting.
So. No, is that better? Oh my gosh, no, it's
No.
not better.
Yeah, it's just when you're
Not better.
closer to the mic, it just seems to be better.
Okay, well then,
It takes away all the echo.
but look out because of the popped peas that will ensue.
Oh, that's okay. I got a limiter on us, so
Okay, so
you're good.
Let's see. First of all, just back to the name that escapes me. I put it away. The guy with the aliens, and we were just talking about him. Romanek, Stan Romanek. Did you hear the part that said that the individual from, I think, the sheriff's office, I believe Colorado, is that right?
Yes.
The man, the sheriff's representative, I don't know what his title was, who removed literally the computers from Romanek's house. That guy had outstanding charges. He was still ready to go to court. Somehow somebody had charged him. Was a plaintiff was saying a complaintiff? A complaintiff, is that right? I don't know. That this guy who took, yeah, okay, good. The guy who literally physically took the computers from his home had charges of tampering with evidence, placing things in other cases, placing things on scene and contaminating everything. Did you hear that part?
No.
I didn't.
Was that true, or was that just internet conspiracy?
See, I remember finding this not on a thread, but as I had various news broadcasting gigs, both at Inception Radio Network and KGRA, I remember reading some accounts chronicled somewhere by somebody that this was the case. These weren't people speaking for Romanek necessarily. They weren't his defenders, and it wasn't, a thread on some board. Just...
Doesn't that look like on YouTube real quick? Doesn't that look like that mountain range is spelling out something?
I can't see it.
I don't know if you can see it. I don't know, Mark, if you're watching the stream, but it looks like that little mountain range is spelling something out.
God, what is it seem to be spelling?
Pareidolia.
Oh.
Spell out Google.
The thing about pareidolia is fascinating to me. I remember reading some scientific, again, I can't quote sources, but that the take was that pareidolia and this facial recognition, if you will, but right now that has a whole different meaning, that was connected to the distance between the feeding mother's breast and the infant's eyes. That need to see a face, yes, and so we, and I that could be breastfeeding, bottle feeding, but that it was somehow hardwired in infancy.
Could be, because I mean, a lot of scientists have said that it's like we're programmed to see faces, even where they're not.
Well,
That
that's a
could be
low.
true.
Yeah. But
No, it's not. That's true. Yeah.
it's kind of an interesting take. Yeah. So, all right, back to Shirley. Shirley MacLaine.
Sure, you jest.
Shirley, you just.
Wait, is it
Yeah,
John McClane?
What is it?
John McClane. Yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay, mother. Boop.
Whoa!
Wow, I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, God, that's so strange. I was putting clothes in the dryer yesterday, and that song was playing in my mind out of nowhere. Well, I guess I just shot through the space-time continuum.
That's weird, because I had the Fraggle Rock song stuck in my head all day today.
Oh, what does that mean?
I don't know.
means
Like, you
he's
remember
still
Fraggle
a child.
Rock?
He's still a child.
Pretty out there.
Yeah, it was stuck in my head all day.
I certainly don't.
Damn. I have a theory that,
I don't remember Fraggle Rock.
I know it was wrong to start singing it at that funeral, but I did it anyway because it was just stuck in my head and it wasn't going to go anywhere until I let it out.
yeah, I can imagine that was a pretty embarrassing experience, but
Hey, when you
perhaps
got to sing
cathartic.
Fraggle Rock, you got to sing Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
So no stopping it.
Yeah. Damn. Well, you're blowing my mind. Clever and funny and smart.
Why?
I still haven't. I identify Mark's voice, but I still don't know who's Paul and who's Keith.
This is Micah Hanks. Appalachia
Oh my
Radio
God.
Mountain, blah, blah, blah.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Yes, he's kidding you.
Thank you. Oh. Duh.
Live from Appalachia, you're here on the Gralien Report. Yeah.
I'm such a fool. Well, I don't know even where I left off, but I just have to toss this in regarding Shirley MacLaine. The most interesting thing has happened. Well, one of the most interesting things, and I'm sort of peripherally involved. A very, very old cohort and colleague of mine in Manhattan, a biggie on the Broadway stage, and now he's producing, has connected me to two individuals. One of them is Joel Big, B-I-G, and the other is Elizabeth Fuller. Now, you may remember The Interrupted Journey by John G. Fuller, which was the first account of the Betty and Barney Hill story.
That's right.
Yeah, well,
I said that's right first.
Bing, 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 bing. The neurons are pinging, and you get the award. I don't know what the award is.
I don't either.
Yeah, but does it matter? So in other words, I am in touch with and trying to parlay this into the best possible thing. And sure, if KGRA gets to be a winner chicken dinner, that would be the coolest. Anyway, I am back and forth on a regular basis with Joel Vig. He and Elizabeth Fuller have authored The Interrupted Journey, the stage version.
Really?
Yes, really. They have had
Wow.
half a dozen plus private staged readings of this. I think, and let's see, I don't remember the name of the director. It's a 3-character play, as I understand, featuring Betty and Barney and Dr. Benjamin Simon, the shrink who first interviewed them, etc.
Wow.
Now, it's interesting to me that Dr. Simon had a connection to, I want to say it's Pease Air Force Base, but I can't absolutely be certain, but someplace on the East Coast. Now, here's where it just gets so bizarre. This stage reading, and as it goes forward, and they have big hopes. In fact, I am holding in my hand a small plastic cardboard thing. It's one of those deals that, even showed up on cereal boxes. It's holographic, vaguely, and if you tip it one way, you see one image, right? Turn it
yeah.
see another. Yeah.
Remember those?
Well, yeah, it's a green alien, and you tip it, and you see a close-up. You can't really tell who the actor is. It's a man's face looking through binoculars, purported to be, I don't know, I think it's, some artistic rendering of Barney. So that's part of their publicity package. Here's the fascinating thing. Betty Hill is played by Sashi Parker, who is the daughter of Shirley MacLaine.
Nice.
Really?
It is quite wild.
Wow.
Barney is played by Richard Pryor Jr., who is the comedian's son.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you
When
what,
is
we're
that-
gonna
when's that
wrap
being
up
done?
this stream because
Okay.
Paul's tapping out. But I
All
believe Mark is starting on his channel in not too long. What do you think, about 5-10 minutes?
I'm just starting up the telescope now from inside.
Which
So
cool.
means
I have about 10 minutes.
about 10 minutes. So Mark
Maybe
will be going
15.
live on his. I may be over there. I may not be.
Oh, really?
Carol
Well,
might
heck with
be over
you.
there. Might not be. I'm not sure.
I will join if invited.
But once again, Carol, the name of the show is.
The name of the show is Behind the Obsidian Curtain, and we talk about virtually everything to do with the paranormal, from ghosties and ghoulies to UFOs.
Behind the
Ghosties
Obsidian
and
Curtain,
Ghoulies.
KGRA Radio, Friday nights at 7, correct?
7 p.m. Eastern,
All
4
right.
p.m. Pacific. You betcha.
And once again,
Yeah.
Sky Tour live stream with Mark D'Antonio at 8 p.m. Sunday nights.
8 to 10, that's right.
Yeah, 8 to 10, KGRA Radio live.
Well,
I want to thank you both for joining me.
Hey, it was a thrill.
It might not be the end because we might just stop the stream and just keep talking.
Yeah.
But it's great. Thanks for everybody for joining us in the chat. Thanks to Chris from Take Back Space once again. And thank you all for joining us. If you want to leave one of the mods or Mark yourself want to leave the link for your channel in there so people can jump over there and we can continue the conversation and let Paul go nighty-night, that would be awesome. But until next time, people, we will see you probably tomorrow night, actually, if it's going to be clear. So everybody take care and be safe.